I just get a mozzarella ball every once in a while.
Well, sure.
A whole, nice.
Delicious.
I usually slice it, but But today, no. Gotta just roll with it.
Banana. Does look like a marshmallow too.
It looked like it cut up banana, and then.
That's a fat banana.
You're just having your mid-meal marshmallow. Just cut it with a knife.
Stuck on the marshmallow.
That's sorbet between meals, so it
palate
cleanses your
cleanser,
palate.
yeah.
Palate. Yeah.
Yes,
That's right.
That
That was a
is her.
Great
This is my
scene.
cleansing palette. Cleansing? What? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I need to keep palate cleanser. There it is.
Hey, Calvin Musquez is watching, I think.
Hello.
Yeah, Calvin.
We got one viewer right now.
Yay.
But anybody who watches this later, can you just real quick hold up your sweater?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay.
You got dinner. Look how unbelievable this is. We're selling these for $1,000 each.
It's so
I
cool.
guess
Look how
It's going
incredible
pretty
that
Yes.
is.
And she did that so quick.
I know.
Very impressive.
Yeah, how long did it take you to do that?
I did not keep track.
Like less than a week, right?
I'll say
A week? Man.
I feel like that is really quick.
How proud Mrs. Weasley is right now.
I told you guys I become I can't.
And they're
It's gonna be an
called
interesting
jumpers,
podcast.
right?
I can't talk. Obsessive. When I want to make something, I'm like, I have to do it. I have to finish it.
Finish it.
That's
Yep.
great.
I get that.
Yeah. And I'm excited because you guys are so excited. So, I'm like, I want to make the ball.
And that's a jumper.
A Weasley jumper.
Yeah. It's funny because to me, a jumper is like a whole body suit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Very American. Yeah.
Okay.
Their sweaters, jumpers.
Okay.
Make it more confusing.
Yeah, we both speak English, so why?
Yeah.
And they spell things weird.
Oh,
Well,
yeah. The
spelling,
OUR,
that's
color,
weird.
harbor.
Harbor, color,
Yeah. I got the British version for my reading, so it spells all the words like color, favorite
Oh, yeah.
is always.
Oh, yeah.
It has weird little things that it has. But anyway. Okay, let me organize all this stuff real quick.
You know what was really great is listening to the audiobook and the
something over there.
Sorting Hat singing the song was so great.
Oh.
I feel like you guys need to listen to it.
Jim Dale singing this. Oh,
Yes, it is.
man.
He actually sings
So
it?
good. Yes,
That's
I'm gonna
awesome.
try. I bookmarked it. I can try to find it while you were.
Yes, that'd be great. I'm working out a few little kinks right now, so find that and then we'll be good.
Yeah, I feel like that's the stuff that's
It's
a
chapter
little bit
12.
missing from the book. Well, not missing, but it could really be enhanced by an audiobook.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, and sometimes I think
I have great pleasure in announcing pumpkin juice spread steadily over the tablecloth, staining several
Here's your pumpkin
feet of
juice.
white wine and
I
orange.
know.
But Hermione paid no attention. There are house elves here,
No, it's
she said,
it's right before that.
deep green robes embroidered with many stars and moons.
Because they're eating. The hat sings before they eat.
Because naturally, you just know like that. I mean, I did.
It's like you and Trent, Chris. That's the equivalent.
Whatever.
We were out at a bar, somewhere, and she made like
Years
3
or more ago when I was new.
and I was like, "Do you watch anything else?"
Ooh, you got it?
Yep. I went 15 seconds ahead.
Staff table and came to a halt in a line facing the rest of the school. All of them except the smallest of the lot, a boy with mousy hair who was wrapped in what Harry recognized as
feel
Hagrid's mold, broke into song. 1,000 years or more ago, when I was newly sown, there lived 4 wizards of renown whose names are
He
still
is so
well known.
good.
Bold Gryffindor from Wildmoor, fair Ravenclaw from Glen, sweet Hufflepuff from Valley Broad, shrewd Slytherin from Fen. They shared a wish, a hope, a dream. They hatched a daring plan to educate young sorcerers. Thus Hogwarts School began. Now each of these 4 founders formed their own house for each, did value different virtues in the ones they had to teach. By Gryffindor the bravest were, prized far beyond the rest. For Ravenclaw the cleverest would always be the best. For Hufflepuff hard workers were most worthy of admission, and power-hungry Slytherin loved those of great ambition. While still alive, they did divide their favorites from the throng. Yet how to pick the worthy ones when they were dead and gone? 'Twas Gryffindor who found the way. He whipped me off his head. The founders put some brains in me so I could choose instead. Now slip me snug around your ears. I've never yet been wrong. I'll have a look inside your mind and tell where you belong.
Are you kidding?
Wow.
You're like this was
Like turn into a goat at the end there. What in the
I
world?
don't know, but I was like, you guys, I have to.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, that was
That is the
fantastic.
coolest thing. Oh my goodness.
Because I was driving, listening to it, and I'm just like, do. But I remember the way he sings it. You remember like the history too.
Oh, that makes me so
Yeah.
happy though.
It was so great.
He's such a good reader.
I love listening to him.
I've done a few of the Stephen Fry ones, and some people really love him, but I cannot get over how good Jim Dale is. He just does the characters, I think, so much better.
Sometimes I know who's talking with before he even said whatever
Wow.
character because of the voices that he's so good
That's
at
great.
distinguishing who's who.
Someone said too, like our soul, or one of the two people watching, Calvin. Think about this: there was no musical notation in the book too. Jim Dale had to make that up. He had
That's
to
what I
make
was
up the
just
tune of that,
thinking.
which is just impressive.
Like,
I didn't even think of that too. I'm not musically inclined at
Yeah.
all.
That's so cool. He's so good. He's so gifted.
But yeah, I thought that was great, so I had to share with you guys.
All
yeah,
right,
thanks for playing it.
I have a opening question for you guys. This is how we'll start. What is the one part of Harry Potter that you love maybe the most, or brings you the most comfort? Over these chapters, I was thinking of every time they're on the Hogwarts Express, I like get giddy feelings. I'm like, I would love being there. It's just like one part of the story that blooms in me and resonates with me, and I'm like, oh, it just feels like you're on your way. You're out of the Dursleys. Like the Weasleys was like a little temporary place. It's great, but I'm like, now we're in Hogwarts Express. Now we're going to Hogwarts.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a spot yet in the books that you get so excited about reading these like little sections because it just makes you feel cozy, or that you love just for loving it?
Like a repeated thing.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a repeated thing. It could just be a one-time thing that you just read and you were like, that, I love the feeling of that.
I think I'll say the Great Hall. Because it's happened a bunch of times, and for whatever reason, I like the sky in the Great Hall, and then in here we hear like lightning and all that. I didn't think of it as being an actual like projection of the current sky, so that I thought made it even cooler. But yeah, I feel like whenever we're in the Great Hall, I'm like, oh, this place is great. It feels cozy.
It's like the weather app. You walk into the Great Hall and you're like, oh, it's rainy
Yep.
day, and it doesn't rain on you. It's great.
Yep.
It's wonderful.
I am struggling with that.
I mean, I do love the Hogwarts Express. It is very magical. I also feel like anytime the Weasleys are together,
Yeah, because you mentioned that last podcast
Yeah,
too. Just
that-
the burrow.
that moment, it's like nothing special, but just everyone's together, cozy,
Yep.
just doing their own thing. I love that.
Yeah, it's so nice. I think you really like the action-packed chapters. You've
I
always
like
been
the
like,
detective
throw
stuff.
me in the Riddle House, throw me in
It is true.
The
We
Chamber
like
of
the murder
Secrets.
mystery, like
I love the
figuring things
mystery
out.
of this and trying to figure out who's. So those are my favorite chapters, which would be the first chapter in this book. I mean, I've talked forever on that podcast. But then, it's different though, because the Christmas in the hall, or I think of like their I know it's not dorms, their
Common rooms.
yeah, the common
Yeah.
rooms. Like, I guess I picture that as like a cozy like place where they're all like hanging out and playing games and stuff, which is kind of reminds me of like college, where you're just
Yeah.
like going to
I love
the
how there's a fire going in it.
Yeah, it's so
Well, yeah,
great.
so
That's
that
really cozy.
Yeah.
makes it even yeah. So I'll go with those two.
Yeah, such good feelings. There's so many that are going to come up too. I was asking this question, and a lot of people were
More
saying
good
different
feelings
things.
or bad good feelings?
Good, more good ones, obviously. People have ones that are in the 5th, 6th, and 7th book, so we can't talk about those yet. But there's so many more things that are going to be explored in these books that just give you such warm fuzzies. It's just so exciting. I love these so much.
Warm fuzzies.
Anyway, welcome to the podcast. I'm John.
Jen.
Danny. And that's
And
Kristen.
Mouthful and Kristen. Every time. Sorry.
That was my bad. And this is Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. That was our shortest intro in a while. Well done. Also, let me crack open these licorice twists. Not quite licorice wands, but see if they're any good. Well, they're kind of like mini wands. You guys want
They
them?
look like a
Super
sorting
mini.
hat from here.
They look like a what?
A sorting hat from here.
Oh, nice catch.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm really throwing you guys off with these here.
That's on tape. Don't.
Man, you guys all caught terrible
I'm
throws of
also
mine.
really glad this is not
caught it?
black licorice.
Yeah, there was black licorice there, and I was like, no
Yeah, I caught it with my
chance.
elbow eventually.
That was
I hate
amazing.
black
Oh, I might have liked it.
That's kind of why I said that before. But
Yeah, no, I
What?
figured.
They
I
sound
figured.
gross.
No, don't tell me
Because
that.
that is
I
the
wanna
default
guess.
licorice, right?
yeah, I don't like it.
I like
Oh,
the...
it smells amazing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna eat this in the midst of my
it's not
dinner.
bad. Obviously, this isn't
Oh, nice.
the original Harry Potter stuff.
Get some
but so good.
ASMR in here.
That's why I backed up. I bet you, though, if you put, like, Harry Potter on there, we'd be like, this is amazing.
I'm gonna buy these from Trader Joe's, repackage it, make my own packaging, and then sell
the
them for like
sticker on
double the price. Yeah. Put our sticker on Harry Potter on the First Time Readers. We got stickers. Anybody who's watching, you can email Harry or email us at firsttime@gmail.com. Or wait, time out. Repeat all this. Email us at firsttimereaders@gmail.com, and I will send you guys some stickers. Okay. Wow, these are really good.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna pass them over to you. I'm gonna take a few.
Thanks, John. These are
Yeah.
These are great.
really good. Trader Joe's soft
not my
strawberry flavored licorice.
You're not into
twist.
them?
They're good. I'm just not.
Kristen's
candy.
like gagging over there. These are good.
I'm just not a big candy person.
Oh, sure.
As I inhale.
All right, guys. Let's go through this wonderful chapter, or these wonderful 4 chapters. The first chapter we're doing is Aboard the Hogwarts Express, like we were just talking about. Give me a very quick summary of this chapter.
Want me to take it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very vague. Something happens at the ministry with a person called Mad-Eye Moody, and the kids take the Hogwarts Express to school.
Yep.
Very simple.
How do you like the name Mad-Eye Moody?
Makes me think he's moody.
Yeah.
I don't know, like
Mood swings.
he's a mad eye.
He's bipolar.
I mean,
It feels like a name somebody else made up to make fun of him, and then he just kind of embraced or just doesn't care. Now that by the end of chapter 14, where we read to, we know him, but yeah, it seems like a little bit of a weird name. I like it though. Very intriguing, because you're like,
yeah.
I feel like I don't like this guy. It's like
Yeah.
feels like a threatening name a little bit.
I didn't
Yeah.
even really think about the name until now.
I was saying a while ago, these characters are named. I gotta like not put something in my mouth before I start talking. And then like
You're elaborating on your
I know.
questions with the licorice in your mouth. That's great.
she named these characters so well. I think that she just crushed the naming game on this. I love it.
She had no assistance, do you know? With names.
I'm sure she had some assistance, but I think a lot of it was just in her head. Like there's one story that I'm gonna bring up that one of our subredditors came up with. It's like the coolest thing ever. I cannot wait to share it. It'll happen the next chapter, next set of chapters.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't bring up stuff like that.
You do this a lot.
No,
You,
it's good. I
get
like it.
so
It's like
excited.
a teaser.
Yeah.
Like
Of course you would like that.
And I'm just sitting over here. I'm like, I can look it up.
Yeah,
oh, you're right.
Sorry,
You're on the
Jen and Danny.
subreddit. I'll try to find it and send it to you.
Okay.
It's so good though. Yeah, I think she's so good at naming characters. Mad Eye Moody. Even just like that's probably a nickname because one of his eyes is mad, but it's still just such a good name. There's like funny little things in this chapter too. Goes, Mrs. Weasley took a piece of buttered toast from a stack on the kitchen table, put it into the fire tongs, and transferred it into Mr. Diggory's mouth. Like he's just his face is popping out of the fire. Really?
I
He
don't
blocked it
remember
out
that
because
either.
it's so awkward.
It's such an awkward interaction.
But bleh. Let me repeat that sentence.
Rewind.
Sorry. Mr. Diggory's head comes into the fireplace, but it's not. It's like him transporting a message through imagery, and his head just appeared. Like I was confused.
I
Yeah.
pictured it like a phone call. Like this is
that's
like
right.
FaceTime for wizards.
Like Star Wars when it's like the little hologram.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
how I
yeah.
picture it. But we don't know anything. But it also is the
can't
Flu
look at your
Network.
face.
So then I was thinking like, can you do that if it's not connected to the Flu Network, or is this just for houses that are connected?
Is Amos Diggory on all fours in his house with
Sticking
just
his head-
everything but his head is showing in his house?
Just getting fed by a person on the other side, like an
Oh my
animal.
gosh, you could do that. Just stick your head in someone else's house.
Right?
Yeah.
How creepy
So
is
weird.
that? The
And
Flu
this
Network
is-
is the
Wait,
single
is
most
that what you-
creepy
that's
thing
what you think
in the
it is?
entire wizarding world.
Right. And that's
I
why
think
they've
so.
got these fireplaces in the common area and stuff. I'm like, I'd be all like, ugh, I'd be skeeved out whenever I was near a fireplace because you never know if some random person's flying by the Flu Network or they're about to stick their head in the fire. And then the other thing
That
is,
what that was. Sorry.
if he's not burning his face, but Mrs. Weasley has to pass toast through, does the toast get burnt while being fed to him?
Maybe she just gave him a piece of bread and it turned into
And it got toasted instantly as she passes it over.
Have you guys ever had a mountain pie?
what?
Mountain
I feel like
That
I
sounds
brought this up a while
familiar.
ago.
Or
And
a
they're
moon
called different
pie.
things too. Or what?
I've heard of moon pie.
A moon pie, yeah. Well, it's slightly
It's-
different from a moon pie too.
Okay.
Some people make moon pies out of them.
Oh,
You know those like big sandwich tongs
Uh-huh.
that you can put in a fire?
Yeah.
You butter 2 pieces of bread, like crazy butter it like a lot. Put 2 pieces, then you put whatever filling you want. A lot of people put pumpkin pie filling, or like I'll take the best is like fruit filling. So like cherry pie filling, you just take that, daub it on, close it up, put it over the fire for like 5 minutes. You bring it out, and it's like this toasted,
Ooh.
beautiful. Like
What?
they
What
smush
is it
together. Some
called?
people make grilled cheese. I call
kind
them
of
mountain
bread?
pies.
Oh, I've never.
Some
heard
people,
of that.
huh?
What kind of bread?
Any kind of bread.
Sourdough?
You can do sourdough. Yeah, probably can do sourdough.
And you can actually use dough too. Like you can just throw the
Ooh.
dough in there.
Wow.
I've never tried that.
I think I call it bannock because I have one of those things, the cast iron things you throw over the fire. So I've tried it with different things, but I've never done a grilled cheese. That would be really good.
That would taste so good.
But I do like a
Sounds fantastic.
s'more where I just put the chocolate and the marshmallow in there with the bread.
Yeah.
Then it comes out like a s'more empanada.
Yeah, seriously. Oh, that's so much better than just a normal s'more because
Way less
s'mores
mess,
are,
you know?
Yeah, disgusting because you're
Yep.
like sticky the rest of the night. You can't, why are you
Whoa!
eating that? You don't have to eat it if you don't like it, guys. Whatever food I'm giving you.
Things. So I tried another bite. It's not.
No, it's not.
That's
not
a good
working
texture
for you.
thing.
Remember that Office episode where Michael just got broken up with Holly and he's eating like cottage cheese and olives because there's no ice cream in the fridge? And he's like, it's so gross. He just keeps eating it.
Ew.
Oh gosh.
That is so gross.
What do you guys think Moody is a good or a bad character? Because this
You
is
mean
something
by the end of 14 or like when we meet him?
even by the end of 14. Because by the end of the 14, like right now we know he's a divisive character at least. Because this is what Mrs. Weasley says. Your father thinks very highly of Mad Eye, said Mrs. Weasley sternly. And then, yeah, well, Dad collects plugs, doesn't he? Said Fred quietly as Mrs. Weasley left the room. Birds of a feather.
How he treated Neville started to change my mind on him. I like how he was like at the end.
Like being
he kinda
kind
bonded
and
with him in that weird way that we kind of talked about. Remember when we were
Yeah.
talking about the professors and how like Trelawney can bond with certain students.
Yep,
I felt
so
like
true.
that was a moment where he kind of took him under his wing,
You're right.
and it
Yeah.
kind of changed my mind.
because
So I
he
was
was like passing on the stuff that Sprout had said about him. Like he's really good in herbology. I'm getting mixed feelings. I think he's a good guy, but not because of what we've seen a little bit. Just because it said that only 2 people at Hogwarts actually wanted him there or liked him or whatever the wording was, Hagrid and Dumbledore. And I'm like, cool. If they both vouch for him, I'm in.
Right.
And the Weasleys. So as far as I'm concerned, he's a good guy. He's weird, and that he's willing to turn students into ferrets and hurt them. So I'm like,
At all.
But it's
I don't like
know,
Malfoy,
I'm
so
fine
like I
with
can
it.
get behind it a little bit, but I was like, oh, this is edgy. So I don't know.
We didn't like that someone was doing a spell behind.
It
the
felt
back.
like he was about, like Malfoy
Yeah.
was about to attack
Yeah.
Harry or something, and
And I
maybe
was
we
like,
break it
good,
down
he
more when we
needs
get
to
there.
be-
But
learn a lesson.
yeah.
But then it was interesting because he said that he knows his father, right, very well, and Snape very well. They're like good friends. Like, make sure you tell your dad that I'm watching you.
Were they good friends, or I felt like that was
So
like
Snape
snooty
and
of him
oh, you
saying
think?
that. I didn't take it that they were like friends. I took it that
I
he
took
knew them,
I took
but he was like,
Snape
"Tell
and
them
him
I
as
said hi,"
friends.
almost as like a threat.
To his,
Right.
his dad.
Yeah.
Yes, to the dad. I was
Okay.
saying to Snape. I thought
Oh.
he said that he was.
Oh yeah, because
friends.
that's confusing part, kind of, where he goes, "Where's Professor Snape? Oh, I got to pay him a visit," and like I think he calls him a friend or something like that. And
I
an
took
old
that as like
friend.
a
Okay.
dry sarcasm, like the same he was talking about Mr. Malfoy, like, yeah, like I'm watching you kind of thing. But they could actually be friends.
But
Who?
then if he.
Well, not really, because Snape didn't
But
vouch
I
for
feel
him to
so,
be
like,
at
to me-
Hogwarts.
oh, sorry. What were you saying?
Well, it just we only know that only 2 people at Hogwarts wanted him there, and he took Snape's dream job.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they're friends.
But Snape must suck at being a defense against the dark arts
He
because
sucks
he's
as a person.
well, yeah.
Sorry,
I feel a
keep
little
going.
bit bad for him, but yes.
Wait, why do you feel bad for him?
I don't because he got made. I feel like he was bullied as a when he was in Hogwarts, and he just wanted friends, and no one kind of included him.
He
so
needs
then he
to
got
get
bitter.
over it, though.
I know, yes, but I feel a little bad.
Yeah. I can feel bad for him.
Yeah, I still don't understand why he doesn't get the job, and all of these other random people, some of them very unqualified, get it.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because he's so good with potions, or he really needs to focus his energy there, or he's doing some study on potions that's important. But I'm a little confused by it. But this feels like another, even in the chapters, they compared him, Mad Eye, to Lupin. Maybe that was how he was treating Neville, but
Yeah.
still, they were comparing it like, it feels like he has the students in mind. He wants to be a good teacher.
Yeah.
His methods
Well, he
are
wants to, like, I
questionable,
think
but-
it's like he wants to protect the students. This
Yeah, he genuinely
round,
wants
right?
them to
Like,
be prepared for the
Dumbledore
world.
Is
Yeah.
okay with me showing you all these illegal, dark spells, so that way you're prepared.
Right.
And I want you to learn this so you know what you're getting yourself into, because no one's gonna warn you
Yep.
when they're doing this to you. So I
True.
feel like, yeah, like he has the best interest in the students. So I would hope that he is good.
Yep. And I think that's like, if you're going to have a teacher who wants the students to be successful wizards, genuinely, and that's their goal, even if their methods are off, I can forgive them a lot of mistakes as long as they have the right mindset. Like, they want the students to be good wizards, to know more, to learn magic. That's great, because some of the teachers, it feels like they don't necessarily care about the end result, or they were just a little bit like, they're just doing what they're supposed to do, but they're not good teachers. So it feels like Mad Eye actually will be a good teacher to some degree.
At least maybe just an effective teacher for certain students too.
Yeah.
I think different teaching styles are definitely gonna give you different things too. Like Lupin's practical lesson to me still is the best lesson that they had. This is a good lesson too, but it's very jarring to the point where some students, like a Neville or a Hermione or a Harry, are gonna shut down and hate that lesson because it was just too much.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get there
Yeah.
when we get there.
Oh yeah.
That chapter is so good. I love that chapter. From the book so far, who is your favorite and least favorite Weasley? I'm sorry to do this to you guys.
Well, least favorite, I'm going to go with Percy. He's just annoyed me too many times.
Okay.
Yeah, ditto.
Danny, change. You gonna change the? Because I hate Percy too.
don't like Percy, but I still think of Percy as being just like immature, a kid. Like there's still hope for him, but he's very arrogant. So I don't like him. But I'm trying to think. Well, one thing, I feel like the twins are the same person, and there hasn't been anything to distinguish them yet. And I kind of want there to be, like, I want it to be like Fred is this and George is that, or like some difference between them. But there is no difference. They are the same. They are always together. They're always doing the same things, saying the same things. So I'm treating them as one, and I always like them. But Ron, he's my favorite, obviously. Twins are probably second.
Yeah. Good
But
favorites.
I don't know. As far as the least favorite, Percy. Yeah, Bill and Charlie are cool. Can't hate on them. Ginny is just like
They're
a
just
non-entity,
cool.
though. Like, she's
Yeah.
just around.
Yeah.
Like, I feel bad for her with what happened, with the
She's
the
the only
basilisk.
girl too, though, right?
I know. I feel for.
But, yeah, that's a rough spot to be. You're
And
right.
she's the baby.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, the only girl and the baby. It's
Yeah,
rough.
That's a combo.
Yeah.
But they don't even seem to care about her.
I know.
Like, they're not spoiling her that much, which usually you do with the youngest
Hmm.
girl. And if it's like
Yeah,
your last
right.
kid, you'd spoil, like, especially a girl, but
Or
not
like,
her.
it doesn't even seem like the boys are that protective over her,
Mm.
too. Like,
Mm.
Harry is more protective over
Mm.
her,
Yeah.
it seemed. They just got upset when they heard bad things, but it's not like they're... I don't know, maybe I'm forgetting something.
That's actually really. I think you're right. Actually, I don't think Ron is that protective over her. I think the twins maybe a little bit, and I think maybe protective isn't the right word, but like protective in their own way because they're fun and cheerful. So I remember in the first book when Ginny was super sad that they were leaving, Fred and George is like, "Don't worry, we'll send you home a toilet bowl or something like that because they're gonna blow up a toilet." Like funny things like that. I really love. It maybe it doesn't show their protective side so much, but it just shows that they want to make their sister happier.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think
Wait,
you're
Jen,
right.
did you say your favorite Weasley or least favorite?
No.
So who are they?
Probably the same that you were saying. But I also thought Bill was really fun. He was the one with the long hair, piercing.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, I feel like there were certain lines that he said, and I can't remember any of them, but like they were. And then Harry just being like, he was cool.
Yeah.
Like,
was a great description.
I love that description. I use that description. But yeah, Ron.
Yeah.
And then the twins are fun. Sometimes they annoy me.
When do they
Do
annoy
they?
you?
It's just like they're so much. They joke around so much that like I'm like, I don't know. It just
Hmm.
You want them to
You're
be a
like
little more
Mrs.
serious?
Weasley. You're like, get more OWLs. Like, start crushing life.
I don't know. Maybe I'm combining though, like the movie version, and it's like you were saying, it's like one person, and they're just like.
And in the movie, it comes off like a little too much for me, where they're
Yeah.
like every line is they're saying it together
So
and
then
stuff.
maybe that's where I'm combining the two. But I'm like, you guys are fun, but like annoying too.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's my opinion.
But I think of them as being like Willy Wonkas. They're like crazy geniuses. Like, I don't think of them as having a lot of close friends, but everybody likes them. So when they're off like in the corner over a parchment, like doing crazy things, I'm like, I don't know what they're inventing, all this weird stuff. And like, it's a little strange, but I like it. And it feels like okay that they're kind of at a distance. I'm like, we're never going to really get to know them that well. They're always going to be a little bit aloof, a little out there, a little crazy. But they're really smart, clearly.
Yeah.
If they can coast through school like this
Yeah.
and do things teachers don't even know they're doing. And like,
Yeah.
True.
There are those people that would like drop out of school and go have this completely successful business for what they're doing. Like, they
Yep.
don't need that. They're definitely those types where they don't get enough OWLs. Like, they fail out of school, but they're still going to be unbelievably successful.
yep.
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg types, except less creepy.
Wait, I didn't do my favorite.
Yeah, who's your favorite?
I was trying to figure. I mean, I love Mrs. Weasley.
There you are, knitting sweaters.
I
Just
know.
like Miss Weasley.
I am her. I'm channeling her. I
You
don't
got the
know.
red hair.
I
You're
know.
no Weasley.
Whoa.
That makes me happy. I'm dancing. I mean, with the kids, I love Ron. Probably because we get so much of him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm gonna go with Mrs. Weasley. I just love her, the motherly feeling.
Yeah.
I think for the amount that we get of him, I think Ron's probably my favorite, but I think Mister is mine. There's something.
Yeah.
He's like an idiot. Yeah, he's like an idiot through it. Like he doesn't do the right thing for a lot of things, but he is just a great balancing force to his wife, and he's like a kid. He's great. I love him. He's not good at his job, but he's just a kid. I love him. And then we find out about some different schools, Durmstrang and Beauxbaton. We learned about Beauxbaton earlier, but which would you rather go to? You don't know that much about them right now. Maybe even just based on the names and the locations.
I'm
I
going
do
to
not
France.
want to freeze.
Yeah.
I do not want to go to the far north and freeze.
And just learn about the dark arts. See, like that sounds like it could be fun with the right crew, but I'm just figuring everyone else who's going there is probably not the best. So then you're going to school with all these people that just want to learn about the dark arts. Like,
But then why do they have that? It just seems weird.
it does seem weird.
Because I feel like they're training for dark wizards.
And then the houses, that's a Hogwarts thing. But does that extend to other schools? Because we know Slytherins, a lot of dark wizards come from Slytherin. But what about that whole school?
I know.
Like, is that just a school where dark wizards
dark
come from?
wizards?
What's the data on that? You know, like, are they churning out dark wizards? Or do these people just go on to do normal Ministry of
who
Magic
founded
stuff and
it? Did
they're just
Tom
very
Riddle
knowledgeable?
find it?
Yeah. And we don't know anything about it. So
found
it gives me weird vibes. Like we're supposed to hate everyone from that school and they're all dark wizards with bad intentions. But are they? Maybe we'll meet them and
But
we'll
it
like them.
is weird that they're teaching them how to do it. Whereas Hogwarts is just like, oh, the defense against it. Like, how is that comparable?
But the only person who gave us an alternative was Malfoy, who's like, you know, we don't want to just defend against it. We want to learn it. And we're like, okay, well, if Malfoy's saying it, it's probably ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
But his mom wanted him closer. That's the only reason he was at Hogwarts.
Hmm.
Because his mom couldn't deal with the distance.
Where did his dad go? Hogwarts? Malfoy's dad. Do we know?
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't really know yet. I guess Hogwarts. I feel like there's a tradition for that family that they would go to Hogwarts too. It kind of feels like that old-timey family.
Like the
but
Slytherin house, and they want the like mudbloods out or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
And
that
they're-
across? Is that across the board? Like, I'm not even sure how I want to word this. So this other school, what was the school that we were talking about? The one-
Durmstrang.
Yeah. Like, are they? Since they, I'm just tying two things together that I think is weird. Like, I'm tying the dark arts with wanting to kill any like mudbloods, or like they want just like pure,
That's a great question, I think.
pure blood wizards and witches. So I guess in my mind, I'm like, okay, so then maybe do they connect? And then if so, then maybe that school you can only have pure blood wizards there and witches.
That would make a lot of sense if there was a school that did that. But I almost think of Hogwarts as being the stuffy, old school, old ways place. And I'm imagining there's a progressive school somewhere else that has left the old ways a little farther behind, might be a little more okay with technology, like just more progressive in general. And maybe they're like, house elves have been illegal here for a long, long time. And like, I don't know, in all of the things that we're being a little skeptical of at Hogwarts, maybe they have a better safety record. So I'm picturing Hogwarts as being the
I would
closest.
hope they have a better safety record than Hogwarts.
It couldn't be worse.
Yeah.
But we also, in these chapters, we're finding out students were dying during the thing. I'm like, well, that explains it. There's just a cultural thing with wizards that, like, death is not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, sometimes students die. That's how it goes. But the rest of the students learn from it. Like, it just
Or
so
they're there
odd.
forever. Like,
Yeah, and they can just be a ghost, you know, if they really have the willpower. There's a whole class on it, how to become a ghost when you die at a tournament here, you know.
You can haunt a cubicle in the bathroom if you want. Harry could have haunted the Quidditch pitch 3 books in a row. So he could have died every single year on the Quidditch
that's
pitch.
true. Yeah.
But Hogwarts is hidden, and Hermione explains this to Ron, saying, if Hogwarts is hidden, said Hermione as a surprise, everyone who's read Hogwarts a history, anyway, knows that. Just you then, said Ron. And then she goes, if a muggle looks at it, all they see is a moldering old ruin with a sign over the entrance saying, danger, do not enter, unsafe. Is that sign going to keep you guys out?
No.
Make me want to go in
Yeah.
even more.
To me, that's ridiculous. That sign is never going to keep anyone out.
Shaking my head. I'm
Like
not going
a
past
moldering ruin. Oh, that looks incredible. Little danger, no trespassing, keep out sign. Rip that thing in half or just bypass it and go right into
But
it.
then if they were to go
Yep.
into it, like, is it still empty looking? I wondered. Like,
I feel like it would be, right?
that's what I think.
And wouldn't they do some of those same charms they had at the World Cup where
Yeah.
it just like someone comes up with like, oh, whoops, forgot something. I left the stove on, and then they turn around and leave. But if they pushed through, I feel like they still would just wander around some ruins.
Yeah. It is interesting the kind of particular magic that you have to do that too. So like why is there maybe there's some anatomical difference between wizards and wizards and muggles, because why does a wizard not get like forgetful over something that they've done if they walk into the Quidditch World Cup,
Right.
but why does a muggle do? So there has to be some kind of weird difference between the two in their mind, that like a spell can either work for muggles or a spell can just only work for muggles, which I don't understand. But it's like a weird thing. So why, if a muggle's eyes looks at the castle, do they see ruins?
You're
But a
right.
wizard's eyes, when they look at the castle, they don't.
Oh yeah.
I
And
don't
that would be
understand.
so
Maybe the wizards
weird.
are using more parts of their brain.
Yeah,
You know how
they're
we
using
only use like
100% of their brain.
Yeah.
A muggle family is
They're
hiking,
enlightened.
and the
I
kid
don't know.
says, look at that gigantic castle. And the parents are like, it's just a couple of bricks. It's been torn
Yeah,
down for
oh my
1,000 years.
gosh.
And the kid's like, it's not a couple bricks. It's magnificent. Look at this whole thing.
That's
and then
so
like
cool.
the kid just starts walking into school, and the parents are like, where'd he just go?
Yeah,
I don't know, I think
seriously.
that'd be funny.
That would
But
be so
instead,
cool.
they're throwing Neville out of a window to see if he's a wizard
yeah,
or
I know.
not.
Just
Poor
take
Neville.
the
There's gotta
train
be
to
something
Hogwarts.
you can do, right?
Do you see this? Okay, yeah.
Great,
Okay,
you're
great.
in.
We'll see you in 5 years.
That is so interesting.
Anyway, we learn of the this charm called the summoning charm here. What do you think of the summoning charm? How do you like it? How practical would that be?
How do,
Wait, what is the summoning charm?
Summoning charm again?
have a
I feel like we didn't know what it
Accio.
was.
Oh, that's right.
It's Accio. And so they use it. What is she summon here? I think Hermione summoned something.
Wait, that's not the broken glass one.
No,
No, that's
it's
later.
for Pero.
She summoned something.
That'd be so nice, you know, when you're sitting down.
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, I just sat down and I need that thing across the room.
Yeah, because that happens to me all the time. Or then you like go grab that thing and you sit down again and you're like, oh, like my tea's in the other room. I gotta grab my
Yep.
tea. Just be like Accio,
Yeah.
Accio, Accio. Everything just
I'd
flies.
be doing
to you.
that all the time.
That'd be so great. Would you guys wear Ron's robes?
Well, we're
the ladies.
female.
His
Huh?
dress robes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Sure.
would.
Yeah. Jen and I look at each other. Yeah. Would you? Or Danny?
Oh yeah.
I think so. Well, I feel
Well,
like
you
Rolling
said
in
yes?
style.
Yeah.
I didn't think he would. I'm like, this one I think would wear anything.
I got low standards. I went to work as a pirate on Tuesday, so yeah. I
That's incredible.
mean, it was a Halloween thing, you know, the whole, yeah, you saw it.
It was Halloween?
I was gonna
Are
say,
you
was it
sure?
though?
Well, but celebrating on a Tuesday is a little odd, right? I'm like, I'm going to be the only person wearing a costume. And I pretty much was. So,
You were?
anyways. Oh, yeah. No one else in my department wore even the slightest bit of a costume.
And
like
you
And
were-
even on my
Oh.
floor, the only people who wore costumes were the people who were organizing the whole carnival thing. Like the people who work for the facilities, not for the bank. And I was like, this is so weird.
Do you get any bonus for wearing the costume or anything?
I like to think the bonus was earning respect, even though in fact I think it was the opposite.
I should have gotten a prize for it.
Yeah, there was some costume contest maybe, but I had to work through most of the carnival, so I missed it. But the point is, I would have worn Ron's robes. But I feel like as a Weasley, he would have learned the confidence by now.
Yeah,
But
agreed.
he is not confident. Like his brothers probably could have rocked this. This would have become the stylish robe. It would have
Yes.
been vintage. Other people would have wanted a robe like this. But Ron, he still is ashamed of like his family, and being poor is still a weak point for him. So when Malfoy presses that button, he just caves every time and gets angry.
Yeah.
And I just want to see Ron embrace that and just say, like, you know what? This is what I have, and it's great. I love it. Done. And then Malfoy has no power over him, but Ron's the one giving Malfoy the power.
I know.
Like, oh, Ron. But it's such a teenage thing to do. I would have probably done the same thing. So I get it, but I feel bad for him. I want to see him, like,
It's
grow.
just he just needs like a little stroke of confidence.
Yep.
When we went to a museum a few weeks ago, and that exhibit with all the clothing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Ooh, those licorice wands are hitting me now. And I remember walking in and seeing those two, like they were like British dummies dressed up, but they were male dummies. All the rest of them were female exhibits, but the male ones were dressed in like super old, like waiter, like I feel like 1600 high society. I'm like, give me that. I want to wear that to like the next, I don't know, ball. Whatever ball I'm going to.
Yeah.
Because we're having so many
balls.
But how dope would that be? Everyone else is wearing like
legit.
give me like the Met Gala. Someone wear one of those old things like that. That would look so cool to me. I did this for my junior senior.
I was just gonna say that.
But it wasn't great. I like, if I could go back, I would have done it even like
I
more.
have no idea what this means.
Like
Junior,
a prom.
Senior.
Prom, sorry.
Okay.
Oh.
thank
Yeah, because
you.
it was in the junior senior prom.
Yeah, you two are on the
Assumed
same
that was-
level. I'm like, I don't know what that means. Sorry.
So me and another friend, Alphonse, we went out to this thrift store nearby because we were gonna just get the most ridiculous outfits that we could. But Alphonse already had a suit, so I was like, okay, great, I'm gonna get some ridiculous stuff. I didn't know what a suit looked like. Turns out his suit was just all white, and it was like a fine looking suit. It was like a nice suit. And meanwhile, I grab I'm like gonna pull up the most ridiculous thing. So I grab a green jacket. I still have the full outfit. A green jacket, a like blue, yellow, and red checkered shirt, a like ugly deep red tie, yellow pants, blue shoes. I forgot what like else I had.
You wore this to your prom?
And a green, like a bright green vest or a bright red vest. And I wore this to my junior senior prom, just like rocked it. I have a picture. I have like long hair too. So like I had like a
Yes.
mop top.
You need to see this.
I feel like you need to post that on
Yeah.
Reddit. So
I'm gonna throw that on the
Wait, I'm
Reddit.
picturing
subreddit.
it sounds like a clown.
Yeah, I
So
look
many
like a
colors.
clown. I kind
No,
of
it
look
was
like a clown.
awesome though.
And I just like had no shame.
Yeah.
I was like walking up and people were like, "This is ridiculous." I didn't have a date, and I was just like, you know, I'm just gonna rock this. And
Well,
yeah,
I'm not gonna have a
I
date.
know, how
Every-
surprising is that?
He's like, I don't have a date. All eyes on me though.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
I
how
don't
we're
know.
rolling
I
in.
think for our class, I don't think anybody really showed up with a date unless you were like actually dating someone. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I feel like that was kind of the thing.
Yeah.
Or a lot of people would go like as friends,
Yeah.
kind of, but then
what I did.
everyone would just like, you know, someone gets a limo or someone, like everyone would just go together. There'd be
Yeah.
like 8 people all going together. It didn't feel like it was, not everyone was just getting coupled up for this thing. So it felt like it was really low pressure. And we didn't even have dancing at the junior senior.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like the most romantic environment. It basically just felt like all of us are just friends hanging out. So yeah, I don't think it was that weird.
Ridiculously.
Yeah, it's like a great excuse just for dress insanely. Oh, that was a fun time though. I'll throw the picture on our subreddit. On chapter 12 though, the Triwizard Tournament, where we find out what? Give me a summary of this chapter. Or I mean anything else. Obviously, you guys saw in the previous chapter. Let me know. Danny usually like halfway through.
Oh yeah, wait,
Hold
We're
on.
at the end of the podcast.
There's another
Wait.
thing.
well, there was a thing here where Charlie said, "I might see you later,"
Ooh.
I was just gonna say that.
and I was like, oh, "He's gonna be the defense against the dark arts teacher." And then I was like,
Oh, that
"He's
would've
not
been
qualified." And then I was like, "He might take over Hagrid's position for magical creatures
Ooh.
because he would be qualified to do that."
Yeah.
And I thought that was so cool. I'm like, Hogwarts is starting a dragon program, and I got all excited about all these like, theories. And then I was like, "Nah, all right, never mind."
That would be.
Is that
so
what you wrote
cool.
down?
I just wrote the quote.
Right. It's like kind of a funny thing that he said that.
Yeah.
And of course we still don't know why, but we're just assuming he's coming for the Triwizard
Triwizard Tournament.
Tournament. Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe there's dragons, which is why he's bringing it.
That would explain him being
Or-
there. Yeah.
Whatever. Maybe he's bringing dragons there.
Ooh.
It's part of the cup.
Do you think that's part of the cup?
Goblet. What is it? It could be. I have no
Yeah,
idea
that would make
what
sense.
it is. I feel like it's I kind of read the summary of the book.
Oh, of course.
Shocking.
Are they gonna bring? Are
But it
they gonna
doesn't
bring
go that
Norbert
detail.
from
Oh my
chapter
gosh,
from
that
book
would-
1?
That would be funny. Say hi to your first
Yeah.
dad. Hi, Daddy.
Chapter 12, Triwizard Tournament. What happens in this chapter?
Go for it, Kristen.
Why me? I just did one.
All right, cool. I'll do it. Let me just
You
get
guys do
there.
it.
I'm just slow. Chapter
Oh, it's when
12.
they go to school and they're doing. Harry finally gets to hear the Sorting Hat. They sing that song. The Sorting Hat
Yeah,
sings that song.
that was great.
Was great from Jim Dale. Harry. What is it? And then they learn about the Triwizard Tournament instead of the Quidditch World Cup. Quidditch Cup
Yep.
for the houses. It is going to be replaced by something else, and then they kind of they don't really explain it actually.
Yeah.
A little
Yeah,
bit,
not much.
but
But-
not much. And that the other schools are going to be coming to stay with them until the cup.
Perfect.
And
Tournament.
we meet Mad Eye Mooney. Or maybe we don't actually meet him, but we
They
find out
met
he's
him
going to be
there?
the teacher.
Or is
Like,
that
he
the
makes an
end?
entrance.
Yeah, I
This
think
is
it
where he
ends
makes the
At
entrance?
the
All right,
end.
good, good.
Okay.
I just saw that the next chapter was called Mad Eye Moody, and I
Oh.
thought, oh,
Yeah.
maybe
And
we
Harry
don't meet him
keeps
yet.
He
noticing
interrupts-
What?
Oh,
that girl.
Joe.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Crush confirmed.
He wanted to go sit
Twice.
next to her for some
Like, I
reason.
want to be a Ravenclaw all of a
Yeah.
sudden. Right?
For a brief moment.
Oh, Harry hitter patter.
No, I was gonna say Mad Eye interrupts Dumbledore.
Right, that was in this chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he comes storming in. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, this is like the good chapter. This is the great hall. They have the feast, the sorting, all this fun, great stuff. But it opens up and they go into the carriages and they reach the school and it's raining. And then as soon as they walk in, water balloons right on their head. Do you guys like Peeves?
No.
What do you think about Peeves?
He's an annoying.
I don't understand him. Makes no sense. What motivates this guy?
Right.
Water balloons? What a silly thing to do.
Right.
Why water balloons?
I actually
Like-
commented on this because I was
Right.
annoyed. I'm like,
What-
he's like not like a. I wanted to say like a toddler, but I'm like not even a toddler. He's just a bully
Right.
because he's torturing these students walking in.
And it's weird to me that McGonagall can't threaten him directly.
Yeah.
Has to threaten to get Dumbledore.
Yeah.
So Peeves is probably, I don't know if powerful, but at least resistant to most magic. McGonagall can't come up with something to get him to go away.
Well, there's
It's
only
weird.
one. I don't know what chapter that is.
The Bloody Baron.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that can control
Oh,
him.
yeah.
Because it was that. I think the Bloody Baron was one that was the only person that really can control him.
Yeah.
Which is very toddler-like. Like, no one else can control this except like one or two people.
right, right.
You know?
He's just insane.
Yeah, he's a weird character in these books. I don't quite understand him.
He's
think of
to
Jack?
the Gryffindor house, Peeves, or he's in the. I think I get them confused.
Is
The
he every? Isn't he
poltergeist or-
everywhere?
He's not a ghost. He's the poltergeist. So it's like a ghostish version, but like a physical ghost. I don't know how to really describe it. He's a poltergeist, which I still don't understand. People have explained this to me, and I still don't understand
A
it.
ghost that can move stuff
Yeah,
Like, but also
It's
can
kinda
go through stuff.
yeah.
and is
I
you could go through him. It's
I
not like he's
guess.
a solid
Yeah.
entity.
Right. You can go through him.
but he's like a lot of the other ghosts, where he kind of just roams the castle and just he wreaks havoc. The other ghosts don't, but he's just like the
Yeah.
the court jester of the ghosts, I guess.
I forgot that Nearly Headless Nick was a Gryffindor.
hmm
And then
That's
the
who
Bloody
I'm
Baron
thinking
is a
of.
He's a
Slytherin.
Slytherin.
Well, he's a Slytherin ghost. They weren't.
So they each have a
Slytherins.
ghost.
Yeah.
But
That's
is
what I was
Peeves
trying to get
one
at,
of
okay.
those? Is he a...
Mm-mm. Do you know
Who are the others? I forget who Hufflepuff
I
and
don't-
Ravenclaw were.
I think it mentions the Hufflepuff one right now. I don't
Why
think we
do
know
they
what the
each have a
Ravenclaw is.
ghost?
That is
I
funny,
don't know,
right?
It's kind of like, yeah, I don't mind it. It is a little weird. Like the ghost of Gryffindor Tower is Nearly Headless Nick, and then the Bloody Baron is Slytherin's. Hufflepuff's is the Fat Friar, and it mentioned that once, very
Oh,
very
okay,
briefly,
yeah.
like
Oh,
barely mentioned it, where it said like the
Hmm.
Fat Friar was at a Hufflepuff table
Yes.
saying something or did something that, but we don't know who the Ravenclaw one is yet.
Interesting.
That one's a mystery and anomaly kind of. So it's like fun little tidbits. Like she just builds the world really well here.
Yeah.
Just
Yep.
like ghosts. Let me throw a ghost in there. Let me throw a poltergeist in there. People won't understand what the heck this is. I don't understand what it is, but he's gonna throw water balloons on the
Yeah,
students
yeah,
as soon as they
right.
walk in. What was the best prank that you guys have ever pulled? You got a
I'm
good one?
no, I don't have one. I'm just laughing because I'm like, you two are gonna have good ones.
Well, yeah.
And
I just made that
Chris
face because I'm like, have I ever pulled
we're
a prank?
rule followers, so yeah, we definitely did such great pranks.
I wasn't a
I don't know if
prankster,
I
actually.
ever pulled a prank.
Huh.
Other than like as a kid putting a whoopee cushion under the chair.
Hey, that's a prank.
That's the best I got.
That's a great start.
It started and ended there in my childhood.
Would it? I mean, I don't consider it a prank. I like made up a character, and my friends thought he was real.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
Is this an imaginary friend? Or what do you mean made up a character?
Are we talking like last week or
Fake boyfriend? Or are you saying you made a Facebook profile for someone so you could play games with them, you know?
Oh, this was back old school where we
Old
had no
school.
link.
Nice.
I did this with, and Danny got mad at me for doing this in 5th grade when I did it with
Ooh,
Chris, and we had a secret language, and
Yeah,
we would
yeah.
just like
Scared.
it was like a babbly, like we would just babble to each other, and we had like this weird little laugh that we would do, and everyone else got mad because we're like. We would pretend that we could understand each other. And then all of a sudden, Danny comes up with this elaborate thing. He's like, okay, so he like brings Chris to one side of the thing. He's like, say something to John in the language that you want it and tell me what it is. And then he comes over to me and he says it. And we
I was like, we're
completely
going to put this
botched
to
it.
the test.
I love
Danny, shut it
Oh,
down.
I'm gonna prove you
You
wrong.
do not have a language unless we
Yeah.
can all learn it.
That was so funny. Oh my gosh.
Oh, goodness,
But I
it's
think
so
like we ended
dumb.
up getting you into it. So I
Yeah,
think
yeah, and then
you-
I was like, all right, then I'm included. Yeah, it's a language.
oh, that
All
was
is well with
so
the world.
funny.
yeah. Oh, it's so
They're
great.
so funny to me.
Yeah.
Let's just
Yep.
pretend like we have another language.
I don't know why we did it. It was just like we're friends. Let's just make up a language.
Yeah.
So it was so fun.
Mine was ridiculous.
Yeah, give us
The
the
one-
info on yours.
It was Santa's elf. His name was Czech, and like my friends believed he was. I don't know how they believed me.
What?
I was like, you have to write a letter, what you want or whatever. You put it in your closet, and then Czech comes and gets it
No
and
way.
brings it to Santa. And then I put a phone number in there, and I was on the other line.
Wait, how old
What
were you?
in the
Santa?
Wait, how
world?
old were you guys that they believed this?
This is a
I
great
don't
prank.
remember. I was elementary school because
Oh,
I did
okay.
it to
Okay.
Danielle.
Wow, that's
And she
amazing.
believed me. And then I did it to my other
What?
friend, Jacqueline, and she believed it too. And it was calling the North Pole, and it was so ridiculous.
That's amazing.
And then I was too far in. I didn't think anyone would believe it.
Sure.
And then I was like, oh my gosh. And I
That's
don't
so
know how
good.
they did it. Like, I would have to like make up a story to like, oh, I just have to go to the bathroom. I'd go read their letter, write a response, put it back in.
oh, you were fully dedicated.
Wow.
This is unbelievable. This is so good.
You like became Santa.
No, they never got any gifts.
That's the start of a Christmas movie right there.
Yeah, they're like pleading their hearts out. They're like, "Can I have this gift?" And this
You
gift?
start
And Jen's
saving
like,
up money
"Yeah,
so you can
sure."
buy them presents.
Yeah.
Oh
and
my
like,
God.
The joke's on you.
It was ridiculous.
That
yeah.
is wonderful.
And then they were telling their parents about it.
Oh my gosh.
wow.
Amazing.
That is
And then
so
when they have
good.
kids, they're gonna tell their kids about it. Their kids believe in Santa Claus and check.
Aw,
You don't know
Well,
about Czech?
Elf on the Shelf. It was Czech before that.
Ooh, nice.
you started it. Good job.
Missed opportunity for a
Yeah.
$1 million business.
That's so good.
I forget if I told the story of that time with the string on the eraser and whatever, but I'm also thinking of the blue cube time where
Ooh, yeah.
a bunch of friends, we were skating behind this like gymnastics facility by my house. I didn't even know that's what it was, but it was a big open parking lot, and we saw a bunch of garbage bags. And you know me, I love thrift stores. I can't miss an opportunity to dumpster dive. And so at some point we saw that they were like really soft. They were jumping into this dumpster because it was like you could just land in it. We opened it up and we saw that it was like all of the foam blocks from a gymnastics foam pit. And we had been planning a prank at school already. And the idea was to fill part of the school with something. We thought balloons, crumpled up newspaper. The idea is you need bulk of something to fill a space, because we have these double glass doors that there was this big space we wanted to fill with something. And then we found these blue cubes and thought, this is it. This is it. This is what we need. So we spent like so many trips with these trucks and vans and trailers, bringing all of this to my friend's house to put it under his deck, where we waited about a week. And then we took it from his deck in the middle of the night and filled a hallway at school. So at the end of the day, I had to go into a classroom and unlock a window. So I left
I was part of that. I wasn't part of the night crew. I was part of the crew that unlocked the window for you to get in.
So like we had to like plan our steps, so we knew we could get in. So we left the window unlocked, and we had to like leave a vocab book in the classroom so we could get maintenance to let us in so we could unlock the window and know that nobody else was going to come in and lock it again. And then we also didn't want anyone to find it at the beginning. The maintenance crew comes in 5 a.m., 6 a.m. They see it. It could be cleaned up before anyone gets there. So we wanted it to be where it wasn't a fire hazard, it wouldn't cause a mess, and it wouldn't be discovered until kids were there. So sure enough, like it was in this hallway where all of the lockers were, but it was like this C-shaped hallway, and in the back you couldn't see it unless you actually went back there. So it didn't get discovered till right before school. And then they had to kind of say, we can't send any kids there. So they sent us all to the gym, and we just had to wait. And I don't remember how much we missed. It was probably like, 40 minutes or something. We're just sitting there. And we're all like giddy about it. We're like, this is so great. Teacher comes in, one of these tough guy teachers, and he just like looks up at me in the stands and he points to me, calls me down. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And then I get down there and he's like, I'm not saying you did it, but if you didn't, you know who did. And I was like, shoot. And I was like, I don't know. I played coy and it was fine. But then I still helped clean it up. And then we got sandwiches for the maintenance guys and blah, blah, blah. But mission accomplished. I thought that was cool.
Aw.
I remember the maintenance guys loved that, because it wasn't like a prank where they were cleaning up water or something like that future classes did. Like I remember they were like had tons of garbage bags, and I remember they were like laughing and joking about it as they were cleaning them out. I remember they were just having a great time.
Yep. Because it was like just the right level of funny where nobody was going to get mad about it. And that was the key.
Yeah.
I feel like it came from a good place, but we were nervous. We're like, we don't want to get expelled or anything crazy,
Could you imagine?
Everyone
Is
took
this
it pretty
like
well.
a senior prank thing? Is this what you're
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about?
Oh yeah. And the kicker too is that that was phase 2 of our prank. Phase 1 was going to each of the teachers' houses and forking and TPing their lawns so that the teachers also woke up to a surprise at their homes before coming to school. But don't worry, we left them each a note explaining it and saying if they were upset to leave it, and we would clean it up the next night. Nobody
nice.
took us up on that.
Pranksters.
But we wanted it to be like lighthearted. We weren't trying to make anyone mad.
Yeah.
But that was pretty
You
funny.
knew where all your teachers lived.
I knew where a few lived, and then I did some very creepy Googling and only found one of these teachers because they had to apply for a permit and go to the town to get the variance, and it came up on a town record. And the next
So
day,
you were
when I
born
finally
this
like admitted to it, she was like, I have to know, how did you find us? And I was like, oh, this is so creepy. And then my other teacher, Mr. Olson, we just followed him home from school.
I kind of remember.
And he
this
lived
faintly.
far away. We're in my parents' van. We're just like flying down the highway, and eventually he stops for gas, and we didn't know where to go, so we just pulled off at the gas station, and we all like get low in the car. We're like, this is so weird. Well, we found his house. So yep,
That's dedication.
it was a lot of dedication.
Wow.
Well, I have a
it was fun.
story. My brother did a senior prank. His class. They made the newspaper and everything.
Oh my
it was
goodness.
a slip and slide. So in between, I think they had the whole grade involved, almost. And they all had soap in their lockers. And I guess they chose a time, and everyone at the same time went to their lockers and just put soap. I think they planned for one session,
my
but it went
goodness.
crazy. It spread, and like
sure.
everyone just went everywhere.
Cleanup
And
of that.
teachers were trying to stop them, and they couldn't because they were falling.
Yeah. No wonder
How do
maintenance
you
was
clean
laughing
that?
about
Did
our
someone
prank.
break anything?
I don't remember. I don't know, but they made the newspaper.
Goodness.
So for them, they were like, mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
Oh my gosh.
So
That's
bad.
hilarious.
That was a bad grade from when they were like in middle school.
Oh, the
All
cleanup
of
on that must have been so miserable.
Yes. Yeah, those janitors were
Like,
not
how many
happy.
times do you have to go over
You
that?
have
Yeah.
to go over it with water
Yeah.
so many
Yeah.
times.
Yeah, especially.
You'd have
I
sticky
can't remember if
floors
they did it
for
at the end of
forever.
the day or what, but
Ugh.
definitely had
Wow.
to send everyone home.
Like
after
our
that.
class was a lighthearted. Like
Right.
the teachers loved us, so like we would do anything, and they'd be like, "Oh, it's a joke. We know you guys are good." But future classes, they would do other stuff, and they're like, they hated
Yeah.
when future classes would prank because they knew it was out of like spite or something. Oh my gosh. Oh, that was fun. So the sorting hat says this, and we kind of listened to Jim Dale earlier, but it says this in the very last line. Now slip me snug around your ears. I've never yet been wrong. I'll have a look inside your mind and tell where you belong. As Jim
Wow,
Dale
that
says.
was
Nice.
That's pretty good, right, Kai?
Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah.
So he says he's never yet been wrong.
Bold.
Yeah. Is that, first of all, that's a bold statement. Second of all, do you agree? Because Harry, he even says in the Chamber of Secrets, you would have done well in Slytherin. Do you think he was wrong about Harry?
I kind of think you can't be wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Subjective.
yeah, like it's kind of like what I'm feeling is each house shapes somebody a little bit based on who you're with, but like, can you be wrong? I mean, Harry could have been great in Slytherin, but wouldn't that be true for everybody? Like, they could be great wherever they are. Like, whatever you're going to be regardless of house. And the house is like a Hogwarts thing. Maybe not other schools as much, or they each have their own houses. And then do you consider yourself a Gryffindor when you graduate and you start a job? You know, people at the Ministry of Magic, do they have Gryffindor stickers on the bumper of their brooms? You know, like, I don't know. You know, it just feels like,
They'll only hire a Gryffindor.
yeah, ooh, nice. They the whole department's like, yeah, we're all Gryffindors except for that guy over there.
Well, I still really love, I think Jen's theory, one of the first episodes that we talked about this, is still one of my favorites, that they should wait to sort people
Yeah.
because they really don't know who people are yet.
Oh yeah.
So it's like the sorting hat gets thrown on your head, and it's okay. It's a stupid little hat to tell you where you belong, but it's like typing someone too quickly. You don't really know who that kid is. Even Harry. Harry's changed a lot over the last few books. So he's become a different person. I meant being in Gryffindor definitely shapes him a lot too, but I really love that idea.
I guess I also don't know, how does it really shape you though? Just because everyone in your house is the same personality as you, or because like they're all going the same classes. They're all friends with each other. It's not like they're only in their common room with their house for like months at a time. So like I
Yeah.
guess I don't get
Like, what would it even look like to be wrong?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, oh, I've never been wrong. Would we know if he was?
Yeah.
But like, would you even know? I mean, maybe there's certain characteristics, but would you be able to like all of a sudden be like, oh yeah, that is a Ravenclaw. Like you're definitely that, just because of what their personality trait.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
what
know.
I guess I'm trying.
That's a great question.
Someone could argue he was wrong about Neville up to this point.
Yeah.
Right.
Because he's not brave.
Yeah. Yep. Or wrong about Harry because he would make a good Slytherin.
I think there's something in it too where I almost wish one of the first headmasters of Hogwarts just dropped the idea of the founders and what they valued in a student. Okay, yeah, you can have 4 houses, but forget about the idea that Slytherins are ambitious and evil. Forget about sorry, Tom, right?
Tony.
Tony, sorry,
Yeah.
Tony. Tony.
Riddle.
Yeah, Tom Riddle, exactly. Sorry, Tom, too.
Yes, of course.
Drop the idea that Gryffindors are brave, because that can become a person's whole identity rather than letting them form around who their friends are. So, like, you might have that idea in the back of your head, like, maybe that's locked away in a vault, like, these students are who they are in these houses. But the house... The sorting hat shouldn't be singing. If you're in Gryffindor, you're going to be brave. In Hufflepuff, you're pretty much just a hard worker. That's pretty much all you got. Like, just don't tell people the characteristic traits of that house and just let them be sorted into 4 random houses that they have no real idea. And they become who they are in those houses.
Yep.
I think Ilvermorny does this too, but their houses are they prize different things than Hogwarts does. So it's a bit more abstract though.
And even power hungry Slytherins,
Yeah.
I don't like it because it feels like then you're making it about a negative thing. Like being power hungry is not a good thing.
Yeah.
Being ambitious is good. So saying power hungry, I'm like, oh man, even the hat is like hating on Slytherins. And in front of all the freshmen, then who wants to be a Slytherin at that point?
Yeah.
Some Slytherins might, but I feel like you got to make it a little more broad, a little more like they're all positive in their own way. They're all negative in their own way.
Yeah, for real. What are your guys' thoughts on Dennis Greavy?
Oh, is that the brother?
Yeah.
He
The little
cracked
brother.
me up.
So cute.
Yeah, he is cute.
I know. I was like, he was thrilled about falling in the
I
water.
know.
Who would be thrilled?
I
Not me.
love this kid. Like, I definitely would not be thrilled about falling in the water either, but the idea that he is giddy over a squid,
Yep.
like putting him back on the boat, like, oh my gosh, I love it. He's wearing Hagrid's big,
Yeah.
huge
Oh my
cloak.
gosh. Yeah.
He is like such a good character. I love him.
He does feel like a Gryffindor.
Yeah.
He loves the
Yeah.
adventure of it. He's not, he's just along for the ride.
And so does his
Enjoying
brother
it.
too, Colin.
Yeah.
Feels like a true Gryffindor, just really soaking the experience and really living for adventure and very brave too. Like even the bravery that they have of being as bold as they are to ask questions and like look, hey, there's Harry Potter. They're both looking at him like that takes actual bravery
Yeah.
to be able to do that.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they're great. I love them. What are your thoughts on Hogwarts having house elves?
It seems like
Not
Hermione
looking
is
forward
the
to
only one
devil's
that
advocate on this
cares,
one.
though, or, like, notices.
That's all right.
What did you say?
Oh, I said I'm not looking forward to playing devil's advocate on this one.
Oh,
Danny's
no,
like,
we're
I
looking
like
at,
it.
Jen and I were looking at each other having our own conversation.
Yeah.
No, but you're right. Say that again.
That Hermione seems to be the only one that cares about
Mhm.
this. No
Yeah.
one else seems to even.
Yeah, it seems like the
Bat
norm
an
in the
eye.
whole wizarding world.
But then I wonder too: is it because she comes from like a Muggle family, like only?
Oh, maybe.
But I'm sure there's others that have been through the school that might. I don't know.
Hermione sometimes seems the only cognizant one too. In the other chapter that we get it where she's upset over the lesson, all the other students are super thrilled and Harry's upset about it. Neville's upset about it, but Hermione is really like the one that's righteously upset about it, where it just doesn't bother her. It's like this was wrong of a lesson to have. So she seems like one of the only cognizant, really conscious people at the castle. All the other students are just going with the flow. I'm curious what the Creevy brothers think of this.
The Creevy brothers.
Any other thoughts on Hogwarts having a house elves?
Yeah, I'm down. That's how it's always been. Just keep it
Hey,
going.
Ron.
Well, I
I don't know. I
we
mean,
never even I never even thought about that until it came up. Because then remember we kept saying like, oh, do they just like do a spell and food
Yeah.
appears or like
Right.
the
Right, is there a
is
kitchen
it cleaning
somewhere? Yep.
spells and stuff. And then sometimes I'm like, well, why don't they just have a spell all the time, just like going and like cooking? And why do they have to have elves doing it? Like, why can't
but
it
like
just be
the house
magic?
elves could be doing that too. Like,
That's true.
and it's 100 of them, 800 people. That's like a pretty good maintenance team ratio.
You said 800. Wait, what?
800 students. That's what we were kind
Oh, yeah,
of speculating
yeah.
was the population at Hogwarts. And that would include teachers too, but that was only based on the Quidditch and the section. So we're still not positive, but about 800 people at Hogwarts. So yeah, I mean 100 elves to support 800 people. I feel like they'd have some comfortable shifts. Reasonable life, work-life balance.
It's just like, where do they come from though? Like, where
Yeah,
these
that's what we
were
don't
the
understand.
Founders,
Right.
the ones that are like, oh, I'm good. Were they friends with the elves? And they're like, oh, we'll help you. We'll have you stay
yikes.
here, and you can help us
Yeah, I need
start
more
up
background.
the school. And then
Right.
it's like,
And do they procreate? Was it just 2? And then it's now a gigantic family of house elves?
what are they,
Ooh.
rabbits?
Well, it's over the course of 1,000 years, I guess. So, what, 1,400 years?
Oh
I forget when it started. So then I'm just like, something about it. But it's back to the sentience thing. Like, are they fully independent creatures that can think for themselves and could thrive if they were fully independent on their own? Or do they need structure and guidance, and they're kind of, I don't know. I don't want to be like harsh about it. We just don't understand them yet. So, but I'm even thinking the Sorting Hat. What if he didn't want to be a Sorting Hat? What if he wants to be a top hat
Yeah.
and go to balls?
Yeah.
He's stuck being a Sorting Hat, you know? So let's say you start enchanting all these things and you're giving them sentient. It's like, you're like, I want a bunch of Sorting Hats to write me music that I can go to sleep to. Or I want them to write me poetry, and then I will start selling their poetry books to the wizarding world. Well, now you've got a bunch of Sorting Hat poetry making like critters working for you. But at what point do then they deserve their own freedom?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Is it a computer? Is it a calculator, a tool, something that is working for you without its own independent sentience? Or is it something more like where they need freedom and we should fight for that?
Yeah, where they're actually enslaved.
Yeah. And that's what we don't really understand yet about house elves. And I'm not sure. And we made the husky comparison about like a sled dog, that they just love doing that. And so Winky is the husky, the one saying she loves doing house elf things, and to do anything else seems like torture. It is a threat. Freedom is a threat. She does not want that. She loves what she's doing. Loves, like, to some deep level. But that was not the case for Dobby. He celebrated his freedom. He was being abused. I don't know.
But I feel like Winky's not being treated right either. I feel like it's their perspective of how they're being treated and how they're reacting to it. I think Winky probably likes the tasks because that keeps her out of trouble.
Right.
And that's, again, like we've said, that's all she knows. That's all they know. So, I don't know. I haven't formed a full...
We like Dumbledore. I feel like I just have a hard time picturing Dumbledore being down with slavery, and he's clearly down with 100 house elves working at Hogwarts. Maybe they're locked in. Maybe this is deep magic stuff that is beyond human intervention, but like, he could give them clothes.
Yeah.
And that's it. Maybe they have clothes. Maybe none of these house elves are actually slaves. They were set free long ago by a previous headmaster. Or they're taking night classes at Hogwarts, and they're happy to do it while they're getting their education. And they're foreign exchange students, They don't want to interact with the humans, so they do the night school. And then as soon as they finish their degree, they go back to wherever the free elves live.
Yeah, I like to think they're being treated well.
Yeah.
At Hogwarts.
Just because I want to like Dumbledore and I want to like Hogwarts. But if they're slaves, it becomes a lot harder to root for like Dumbledore and Hogwarts in general.
Because Hogwarts has the most house elves out of any dwelling in Britain.
Yeah. Which is kind of nuts.
I know. So, I mean, maybe it's good. Maybe Dumbledore sees their mistreatment and just takes them all under so he can treat them well. But I don't know. That's rough.
Huh.
There's another description in the book right now I'm going to read, and I think it's maybe her best description of a character that walks into the story. A man stood in the doorway, leaning upon a long staff, shrouded in a black traveling cloak. Every head in the great hall swiveled toward the stranger. Suddenly, brightly illuminated by a fork of lightning that flashed across the ceiling, he lowered his hood, shook out a long mane of grizzled dark gray hair, the hair description she always has to throw in there, then began to walk up toward the teacher's table. A dull clunk echoed through the hall on his every other step. He reached the end of the top table, turned right, and limped heavily toward Dumbledore. Another flash of lightning crossed the ceiling. Hermione gasped. The lightning had thrown the man's face into sharp relief, and it was a face unlike any Harry had ever seen. It looked as though it had been carved out of weathered wood by someone who had only the vaguest idea of what human faces are supposed to look like, and was none too skilled with a chisel. Every inch of his skin seemed to be scarred. The mouth looked like a diagonal gash, and a large chunk of the nose was missing. But it was the man's eyes that made him frightening. One of them was small, dark, and beady. The other was large, round as a coin, and vivid electric blue. The blue eye was moving ceaselessly without blinking, and was rolling up, down, and from side to side, quite independently of the normal eye. And then it rolled right over, pointing into the back of the man's head so that all they could see was whiteness. I think that's such a good description of this guy. You get such a good picture of what he looks like. I don't have the Jim K version, but the Jim K version is a great version. I'll send you a picture of that later. It's so good. And then we learned about the Triwizard Tournament here, too. It's my pleasure to inform you that the Triwizard Tournament will be taking place at Hogwarts this year. You're joking, said Fred Weasley loudly. The tension that had filled the hall ever since Moody's arrival suddenly broke. Nearly everyone laughed, and Dumbledore chuckled appreciatively. I am not joking, Mr. Weasley, he said. Though now that you mention it, I did hear an excellent one over the summer about a troll, a hag, and a leprechaun who all go into a bar. Professor McGonagall cleared her throat loudly. What are your thoughts on the Triwizard Tournament, and what do you think they'll have to do in it? What tasks do you think the people who are in the Triwizard Tournament are going to have to do?
I think there's a dragon section.
All right.
What do they have to do? Do they have to tame it? Do they have to get past it? I don't know.
Ride it.
Oh. That would be great, too. I'm sure they're very... I mean, they say the kids died, right? So it's got to be really difficult. Or was it they died because someone messed up, did some dark magic, and caused things to go awry? But there's probably like a sky, a ground, a water, fire
Like
section.
elemental. I like that.
Great theme.
Yeah.
I like it.
Maybe like a theme with each of the schools too. So maybe Hogwarts has to come up with a task, then Beauxbaton, and then Durmstrang have to come up with a task too.
That'd be a fair way to do it. Yeah. Because the whole thing confuses me. I'm skeptical of the tournament as a whole because kids are dying and then there's an individual money prize. Feels odd. Like it's not for your school. Right. It's not like you get to have a trophy, a cup, a statue in front of your school. A kid just gets $1,000. Well, 1,000 galleons, whatever that is, So it feels just odd. Like, why would this be? I feel like it is setting up for some nefarious things because the Dark Mark casters, it's a short list of suspects, and they were the ones who were involved in making this thing happen because we know that it was Crouch and Bagman and their departments at the ministry who helped organize this. So it's setting up to be a bad idea all around. But even if it wasn't set up by nefarious people, I'm not totally sure what it accomplishes. Like, is this just a friendly rivalry between three schools and they want to see who's going to win? But then
they should do that with a Quidditch game.
Yeah, right. Because then, like, why
Quidditch
make it
play
such a big deal?
Yeah.
And these people have to go to a different school for like a huge portion of the year, and only one student represents. Why not like let a bunch of students from each school participate?
Yeah.
Because then you're really just choosing the one outlier.
Like there are two
feels
things
odd.
about this. I think they need to do maybe like a 4 European team Quidditch tournament. So like in your school itself, you are playing against each other house, and then the winner of that individual game, or the winner of like whoever wins the table, goes and plays the winner of Durmstrang, and those two winners play, and then whoever wins that plays the winner of Beauxbaton, and whoever Beauxbaton plays, and it's like a final, like, so Hogwarts is the champion in Europe for schools.
Yep.
And then the Triwizard Tournament to me would be so fun if it wasn't just school related. Let like the greatest wizards of the age, like who volunteer for this stuff, just go into this and like have to fight 3 tasks that the world gets to watch. It's like, maybe it's like the Colosseum and the gladiatorial games. You never know. But I feel like that'd be so entertaining. I feel like that'd be
absolutely
right. Like the second a student dies, it's done forever. Why are they bringing it back?
I know.
But see, then even what was the original purpose? Like, what is it accomplishing? Right. If students are dying, but also something's being accomplished, you can make a case. But in this case, it feels like it's kind of just having fun, competing.
And they get money. Who's giving the money?
Yeah, where'd the money come from? Each school has to pay a little bit. So
there goes some of the endowment.
Exactly, they're dipping into their endowments. Like, it just feels, something about it feels off. And in my mind, that's why it hasn't happened in a century, because they stopped doing it because it didn't make sense. They got more progressive. They're like, all right, death isn't cool anymore. And it's only because of these nefarious people that it's starting up again.
Yeah.
But Dumbledore is down with it. Not totally sure why.
Yeah.
I know that's what I was
Maybe it's a
trying-
bit of a mole hunt, and Dumbledore's trying to expose the mole, and this is a chance to do that. It feels like the only real option for Hogwarts is Harry to be the guy. I don't know how that's going to work with the other thing Dumbledore said about having to be an older student. If you want the best student, why create an age gap or age restriction?
Exactly. Yeah.
I think Dumbledore is only doing it to test people, to get them to like come up with ways around this. The Weasleys were just like, oh yeah, obviously we're going to come up with a way around it.
But wait, I thought a judge picked who was going.
Well,
to
that's
be.
what I don't get either. Like maybe that didn't. No, I think that did come up in this chapter. Yeah, where the judge chooses, and the
Yeah.
Weasleys, or Fred and George, are making it sound like once the judge chooses, those words leave his mouth. It's locked in, even if they weren't supposed to put their names in to begin with.
Right.
So I'm like, well, that seems a little odd. Shouldn't Dumbledore like
Yeah.
just be there? And who is this judge, and why is he doing it and not Dumbledore? And like, is this a seer that the judge knows more than other people? And the whole thing, I'm confused by it.
So in the beginning of this whole part of this conversation,
Yeah.
you were saying that it's a setup to capture Harry Potter. Is
I
what
don't know
you're
if it's
thinking?
capture. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish. I don't think it's capture, because they could have done that at the World Cup if they wanted to. But it's something else, and that's what I don't know. Like getting people together.
Who do you think the Hogwarts champion is going to be?
I feel like it. I'm gonna say Harry, but there's also a chance we never see the tournament.
Yeah.
And this is all just like
A
a thing.
sideshow.
Yeah, like this is all to get something to happen. The tournament doesn't ever
Because
happen.
he is too young.
Right. Or maybe the person who is representing Hogwarts ends up getting captured or dies, or something bad happens to them before, and then Harry could fill in. That'd be kind of cool, I guess. We don't know enough about what it actually is yet, so it's hard to say.
I just can't believe kids want to go and do it after they find out that people have died.
Right.
I'd be like,
Well,
no,
you know.
thanks. Well,
Yeah.
you
I
guys
told the-
would probably
We
be.
would say
Running
no.
with the Bulls story, et cetera,
Yeah.
et cetera. There's skydiving. Well, death is what makes things exciting. I forget who said
For
that. It might
you.
have been the Weasleys. I was
Not
like,
me.
yeah, preach, Fred and George. I don't know.
So you would be Fred and George. and
Maybe,
Harry.
but again, is it just for glory and money? It just feels like I'm competitive about some things, but like I'm not that competitive. So this isn't quite doing it for me yet. Maybe because I don't care enough about the other schools. I don't want to destroy them. But if we meet the other schools when they arrive and we're like, yep, they're the worst, let's get them.
Yeah.
Then I'm a little more motivated. I
Yeah.
want to see them lose more than I want to see, Fred and George win, or whoever ends up doing it. So we'll see.
Jen, who do you think the Hogwarts champion is going to be?
Well, I looked at this cover of my book.
Okay.
And
How
I'm
much is this cover?
assuming that maybe that is it, but I also got
Wait,
sucked
that
into
is
the
it.
summary of something, and it sounds as though it could be.
The summary goes beyond Act 1?
Yeah, come on.
Unreasonable.
It wasn't
These
accurate,
summary writers need to whip up their game
dare
here.
but I'm not sure I was supposed to say anything. I don't know. It's not fact yet, but
We just don't know any older students that would technically qualify.
but
Yeah.
we don't know anyone that's good enough because Harry Potter. The
Well,
book's
yeah.
about
We know
Harry
a few.
Potter.
So like Oliver Wood, we know like a
Oh,
few
good
random
point.
ones.
You're
There are
right.
some Quidditch ones like Oliver Wood, Angelina Johnson, like the Weasley twins can't, but maybe they could bypass something because they're old enough and they're smart enough.
What,
Wait,
just
how old
because
is
they're athletes? though?
Flint, Marcus, huh?
How old is Cho?
Cho's too young. She's
What
fifth year.
Oh, man, I'm like thinking of all the other people we
I
know.
know. Like we don't know too many. We
But
don't know like
if they're
any
good.
Hufflepuffs really.
I thought they had to be a certain talent.
Yeah,
Wait, Cedric Diggory, he's a Hufflepuff.
yeah, he's like one of the only Hufflepuffs we know. So he could be. The
Is he in
champion
Harry's
too.
grade though?
No, he's older. He
was Oliver Wood's grade.
I think he's a 7th year. Yeah. So he could be the one.
He could be the one.
Yeah.
He might be the only 7th year that I trust.
Mm-hmm.
If he's 7th year. But
Yeah.
literally we didn't even know how old he was. Who was the Percy's girlfriend. She's already gone, right?
Penelope Clearwater.
Penelope?
Yeah, she's gone.
Oh, she was in his grade.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That'd be great. Imagine Percy doing these challenges.
Well, I cannot even
Hogwarts
imagine
would
it.
lose so
Yeah.
fast. Yeah, it's fun to figure this out. This tournament is strange.
It's weird though, because in my
Man.
mind, it's like everything Harry has already done, like
Yeah.
Chamber
Right.
of
Yeah.
Secrets,
Yes.
Sorcerer's
Fighting a
Stone.
basilisk.
Yeah, like all
fighting
these
Voldemort.
things. I'm like, he already wins. The gauntlet.
I could see the Weasleys doing it, finding a way to do that. The question is, will Ron and Harry and probably not Hermione, but will others do whatever the Weasleys learn to do to get their names submitted on the list or whatever it is? That'll be interesting. I'd be down if the Weasleys did. But then who's the guy who's going to crush it, Fred or George?
I know. That's a
Or is
question.
that all part of their illusion? It's both of them, and they can tag team it. That's like a superpower in this.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be sweet. That'd be so cool.
But what are the challenges?
I know.
Do you know the challenges already?
I do.
Oh, man. Are they... Never mind.
Don't ask,
We can't talk about
Oh,
challenges.
man.
We'll talk about
don't
that
ask
later.
me anything.
Yeah.
It's all
What do you think they
trippy
are?
here.
since
Well, I
you
feel like
don't
they
know?
have to be big. They've got to be like big things, like
Yeah,
you said, fighting a basilisk. You know.
I said a dragon, but yeah.
Oh, well, no, you said that too. But you said like Harry's been through these
No, I
challenges
know.
already, like basilisk,
Oh, yeah.
mountain troll,
Yeah.
Yeah.
chambers of secrets. He's going through the playing chess, picking the vials, catching the key. These are like all challenges that could kind of work if they were competitive, but 3 people doing them instead of just Harry. So yeah, make it a dragon instead of a troll or a basilisk. But is there one that's about wits? And it can't just be like one moment. It's not just catch the snitch. I feel like if it's this big production, these challenges have to be endurance tasks as well. Like long things. But I don't know what that looks like.
How
and it's
long
got
are they?
I don't know. In my
two?
mind, multiple days. Like it's about like really surviving out there in the world, wherever they are.
So they like drop you off like 100 miles from Hogwarts.
First one back to
find it.
Hogwarts.
It'd kind of be fun, like rat race or
And
something.
because you can't apparate back, it really is like
Yeah.
using your knowledge of potions and spells and
Yeah.
this and that to
Survival.
like get as close as you
Survivor.
can. That'd be fun. A giant race. A race is pretty classic. That
Yeah.
should be a challenge with whatever obstacles
I don't know why I keep thinking of like the Hunger Games and
Yeah.
where they're
fighting
actually
each
fighting
other.
each other. Because
Yeah.
that was not what I thought, where it's actively fighting, like last man standing kind of stuff, but it could be.
That would be wild.
And then that makes sense why people died.
Yep.
Every year, 2 students die and 1 comes out victorious.
Oh my goodness.
And they get the money from the kids.
Yeah, and they get the money. And I felt like funny because Ron with the money, he got like, it felt like his jaw dropped. He's like,
Yeah.
money. Like, oh goodness.
And Harry's like,
Poor
that's
Ron.
Like, I just took that out last week. That's
Yeah,
easy.
yeah. I drop that on a new broomstick whenever I want. Jump change.
We're going to talk about the tournament as we go on too. But at the end of this chapter, Neville falls through a trap step, which is I just want to make a side point. It's just ridiculous that Hogwarts even has these trap steps. Why? There's no real reason for it.
Especially if the students are just learning to avoid them.
Yeah.
They're not like learning to overcome them or
Yeah, yeah.
spot them in the real world. It just feels like, just another funny thing about Hogwarts, moving steps, trap steps.
Yeah, and poor Neville's the only one that forgets about it.
Poor Neville.
I feel like it's something where you have to always be cognizant of your steps. Constant vigilance, as Alistair Moody says. Mad-Eye Moody says. Sorry, I just spoiled his name for you guys. Doesn't matter at all, though.
Yeah, oh
If
yeah.
you even
cool.
heard it. But we are into the Mad-Eye Moody chapter. Chapter 13. Very quick summary of this chapter.
You learn about him and his class,
Yeah.
and he does.
Well, we don't hit his class
Oh
yet.
no, sorry.
But we learn about him.
Yes.
Through what? How do we learn about him?
I don't remember. Sorry. Malfoy.
We never use transfiguration as a punishment.
Oh yes. My name was Malfoy. I was right.
Yeah, that was this chapter, right?
It was McGonagall.
It was so
Yes.
good. So we start this off, and they're going to Care Magical Creatures and Herbology. Which class would you rather take between the two? And we asked this in the early section of the podcast. What is your favorite class at Hogwarts? And has that changed at all?
No. I think I said transfiguration, and I
Yeah.
feel like that still would be
I have no idea what I said.
the defense against the dark arts with Lupin. I would have liked
Yeah.
to take that.
Oh, yeah.
When you have a good teacher for that, it's a fantastic class, but
Mm.
rarely do you have a good teacher. I said herbology, I think, and I still might go herbology. Although right now they're taking out the pus of bubo tubers, and I don't know if I would want to do that. Like
Ew.
popping pimples
That's
on bubo tubers.
disgusting. Well,
Yeah, that's a weird one.
it's like pimple popper.
Gross.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah, great videos.
Gross.
Really grosses me
Yeah,
out. I literally
it's pretty
can't
gross, but
remember
it's-
what I. Do you remember what you said? I don't
I don't
what I said.
remember. No, I might have
Remember.
said history of magic.
I don't remember things from 5 minutes ago. That was too long ago.
Divinity class.
But I feel like the stuff that I would enjoy about magic is the stuff that Hermione's reading about in the book of spells for that year.
Yeah.
But I feel like what is that class? Like the general education class, not a specific thing, but who's teaching that one? You know, like that's the stuff that I feel like is a little bit more practical, kind of my speed. I would love the history of magic, but like it's just some of the little stuff, the charms and the spells. But it's not potions, it's not herbology, it's not magical creatures or history, not transfiguration or divination. It's the other stuff, the random breaking glass because it's fun and then fixing it because you can. Like those real practical spells you'd use in day-to-day life. It's the home ec of wizards.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
whole mega wizards.
you
are
would
great.
love that.
How to be
I would love that. Yeah.
Wizarding 101. 102,
Yeah, like
103, 104.
when you're being a normal wizard in life, what are the spells you're going to use?
Reparo, Cleano, Scrubbo,
The cooking spells,
Yeah.
you know, like
To everything.
Roasto.
I thought so.
They go to Trelawney's class after this too. Do you guys still think Trelawney's a fraud?
When she's conscious, yeah.
That was such a good answer. She does have this moment, one of my favorite moments in the whole chapter, where she goes, or someone, they're looking at their star charts, and they go, "Oh, Professor, look, I think I got an unaspected planet." "Ooh, which one's that, Professor?" "It's Uranus, my dear," said Professor Trelawney, peering down at the charts. "Can I have a look at Uranus too, Lavender?" said Ron. What a high school humor.
Yep.
I
This
literally
is
in
so
that moment
good.
busted out laughing, and then in my mind heard Mrs. Weasley say, "Ronald Weasley."
That's so good
Yes.
because you're Mrs. Weasley. That's so great.
Goodness. That is great.
Such a funny moment. But she does say something else here too. This is another like one of her. She has a few different random predictions here, but she says this one. "I was saying, my dear, that you are clearly born under the baleful influence of Saturn," said Professor Trelawney, a faint note of resentment in her voice at the fact that he had obviously not been hanging on her words. "Born under what? Sorry," said Harry. "Saturn, dear, the planet Saturn," said Professor Trelawney, sounding definitely irritated that he wasn't riveted by this news. "I was saying Saturn was surely in a position of power in the heavens at the moment of your birth. Your dark hair, your mean stature, your tragic loss so young in life. I think I'm right in saying, my dear, that you were born in midwinter." "No," said Harry. "I was born in July." So I take back what I said in book 3. She's not right about everything, but this is definitely one that she's probably wrong about. But do you think that she is a complete fraud? So when she's conscious,
I mean, that sounds like a good answer to me.
No, I do not think she's a complete fraud. Actively, when I think about it, yes, I think she's pretty silly. She's all over the place. But whenever she says something, I do find myself thinking about it and thinking, how could it be right? In this case, do we know that Harry wasn't born in winter? No. His parents can apparate, and I imagine you can't fly while pregnant, but you can probably apparate. Oh, that's risk to the baby if you get splinched. But
yeah.
maybe not. But the thing is, July here is winter in the southern hemisphere. So how do we know they didn't go to the southern hemisphere? A little apparate down there. He still could have been born in winter. She's not saying the wrong month. So it's still a possibility. Also, is she describing Voldemort when she's saying those things? Dark hair, mean stature, tragic losses so young in life. I'm like, there's a connection between Harry and Voldemort. So if things from Harry's perspective are then being perceived by Trelawney, it would make a lot of sense if she's picking up on more than just Harry. Because there's more than just Harry
Okay, so then when
in
she
Harry.
said you're gonna die, it could be to Voldemort.
It could be to Voldemort.
Oh, man.
Or a part of him or whatever. Like, there's more to this story. It's not so simple with Harry. So I'm not going to too quickly say she was wrong about this.
Wow, look at
There are
you,
ways this
detective
could
work.
be right. But even the stuff from last semester, the red-haired man, I kept waiting for some red-haired man to pop up and attack somebody. Never did. So I'm like, we might find out about it later, and then it'll be like a little callback. But so I don't trust her every word, of course. But even when Harry and Ron were doing their homework, I was like, could they be right about any of this accidentally? Because when they're trying and they're like, oh, I'm not coming up with anything. But then all of a sudden they're like, let's just wing it. They're like trusting their gut. Whatever comes up, they think of it, they write it down. I'm like, that's the stuff you have to actually listen to.
Yeah.
But then they went a little too far, and I'm like, okay.
He goes, you're going to be drowning twice this month.
Yeah.
Oh, crap. Let me change
But like,
that.
also, why is that so bad? You
Yeah.
could drown twice. This is Hogwarts. Anything could happen. And you're right next to a lake.
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting for all of these things to actually happen because they made a lot of predictions that I'm like, I could see it. Yep, I could see it. Could see that too. So it feels like I'm skeptical of Trelawney naturally, but because it's a class, because Dumbledore has given it some kind of stamp of approval, there is some truth to this. We at least know she was right about Voldemort. So you got to take some of this a little bit seriously just to be aware of the possibilities.
So we're talking a little bit about death here too, and I just want to make a pause on this chapter to bring up something a little bit different on this too. I just want to. This is a random segment we're going to throw in there, and you might need to think about this question for a second. So people have died in the Triwizard Tournament. Do you think that people will die in these books? So we talked about even Voldemort dying. Voldemort and Harry, this little battle they have. Voldemort might die at the end.
Yeah,
Do you think anybody else is going to die in these books?
probably. That's a plot twist, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know.
So whether you think or not, this might sound ridiculous, but come up with 3 people who you think might die in these books.
like the whole series.
The whole series of what we read so far. Who are 3 people possibly that you think might die
In this book.
in all
by
the
the
books,
end of
by
it.
the end of it, by the whole series. Maybe
All
by the
3
end of this
them.
book. Yeah.
Hermione, Ron, and
Oh
Harry.
no! Could you imagine?
I don't like that.
Could be by the end of this book because people die in the Triwizard Tournament.
I watched part of this movie.
I could see Harry, Ron, or Hermione, one of them, no more than one, dying.
I don't know.
And
That
I would
would
lean
hurt.
Harry.
I know. I
Which one do
kinda-
you want to see die least? Sorry.
Ooh. Probably Harry. This sounds harsh. I don't mean this in a harsh way, but I feel like Hermione could die. I wouldn't want to see it, but it would kind of make sense. Like I don't know.
That would
It's
be
too
devastating.
soon. It's too soon. It wouldn't make sense now, but
In this book.
later I could see it. You know, like a real tragedy to fuel the fight against Voldemort. Or like a final sacrifice at the end where, again, it would make sense if Harry and Voldemort are connected and he has to sacrifice himself to defeat him. That would make the most sense to me. But I don't know. I just don't know. But who else?
Dumbledore.
Dumbledore, McGonagall, they're both a little old. They're like
McGonagall's not that
sweets,
old.
You know? Oh, yeah,
Well,
Dumbledore.
she's
maybe
old,
not.
but she's not that old.
Oh, yeah, true. She's not. I think of her as being
Would
older.
Dumbledore risk his life, or sacrifice, I should say, his life to save Harry?
Or would Hagrid?
Mm.
That would hurt.
That
I would
would
not
hurt
want to
her.
see that. But I could definitely picture that.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, like the person who would die maybe the quickest for Harry, do you think it would be Hagrid?
That would be kind of a fitting thing too, and to like end the books
Or-
almost, you know.
I
but-
mean, like, what about? Do you think Dumbledore would die quickly? Dumbledore still seems a little bit distant from Harry. He's like he knows him, but he still seems a bit distant. What about like Sirius or Lupin?
Oh yeah, Sirius. Every time they bring him up, I cringe because I'm like, don't send letters to him. I don't want anyone
I
to
know.
find him.
Yeah.
yeah. But that's a separate thing we'll get to in a bit. Yeah, I almost expect Sirius to die.
That
Just-
would be so devastating.
I'm like, because
Why?
that's like his only family.
oh, it's so true. But like maybe
Why
that's
do you
part of the.
expect it?
I expect it because something about like the life he leads just seems so intense, and he's on the run, and it's like.
The odds against him.
Yeah, there's just a lot against him. And well, also as far as a character is concerned, he's got less strings attached. The only person who would mourn heavily for him would be Harry.
Who barely.
Yeah.
knows
That's it.
him, so.
Yeah.
So it would be like an easy, that's so harsh to say, I love Sirius, but it'd be an easier death because he could sacrifice himself or like get information about Voldemort.
Wes.
Wes is having some kind of
A
dream.
nightmare. Yeah. No.
Yeah, I get it, Wes. I get it. Nah, I don't want to see Sirius go.
I don't think Harry would be the only person that mourned for him, though. Ron and Hermione probably would. Not to the
A
extent.
little bit, yeah.
Same thing as Dumbledore, because Dumbledore
Lupin.
knows his truth now.
Mm-hmm.
Knows that he was there protecting James and Lily. So Dumbledore would, I think, mourn out of fear of or sadness of like everything that happened. Like he really found out this person was good, and he's mourning over that.
Huh. Well, that would be a decent little redemption too if his death proved his innocence somehow.
Yeah. Ooh.
So then, like, the world would see his innocence, but not until he was gone.
Wow. That would be. That would hurt.
Yeah, that would not be nice.
Oh.
I don't know. What do you think, Jen? Who else is off the table or on the table for a death scene? Mr. and Mrs. Weasley better survive, or I'm
Yeah.
closing the book. I'm like, and we're done here. But also in this crazy wizarding world, I feel like nobody is truly gone. Like, you can bring people back from a lot, but that's the part I don't fully get. There's ghost stuff there. So if anyone dies, I'm going to keep reading and just praying for some random wizard solution we don't know about yet, like that can bring them back. Or they're going to be a ghost, and that can somehow be a happy ending because, you know, then the Weasleys can prank the students of Hogwarts for all eternity as ghosts. But like whatever it is, I feel like there's always a hope to bring someone back. Maybe. Oh, but you said something about a heart. Like when Crookshanks jumped in front of Sirius's heart, you were like, there's a heart thing. Like, we haven't seen a heart stop yet and come back from it. Is there wizard CPR? Is there something like they're donezo? If you're killed by a dark wizard, you can't come back. But like most other forms of death, you might be able to do something.
Well,
I don't know.
And we finally learn of what the killing curse is here, which is...
Yeah.
Do you guys remember? I mean, it's dangerous to say it, but you guys can say it, and I would get nothing but a nosebleed.
Ooh, nice.
Avada. Right?
Say it.
Avada Kedavra.
It
There
sounds
it
very
is.
similar
Like
to abracadabra.
abracadabra. Wow,
Yeah.
cool. I've never said it out loud.
Avada-kedavra. Yeah, so this is the killing
I
curse, and
still-
this is one you probably can't come back from. Go ahead.
Don't get these illegal curses or spells, because it's like you learn how to say it, and then can't you just use it? I don't get how like
Seems like no.
I don't know what an equivalent would be like. I guess it's like maybe guns. You can own a gun, but you can't use it against someone else. Maybe like there's laws self-protection. If you really have to, you can use Avada Kedavra for self-protection or something like that. But I don't know. These are unforgivable curses.
elite, but
Yeah.
and illegal because they
Yeah.
would go into
Yep.
Azkaban, right?
They're enough to earn you a life sentence.
If you use it against another human.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess it makes sense with Hogwarts. It does seem a little aggressive teaching it to kids.
Yeah.
But he didn't really teach them how to use it. He taught them what it is. But he left out something. Like we had speculated, there's like a certain amount of malice or anger, or like you really want to kill someone. If you don't actually want to kill them, it might not work. So even a student might actually be really mad. Ron might be really mad at Malfoy, but does he actually want to kill him? Even in these chapters where we saw some real anger, I'm not convinced he wants him dead. So even then, I'm like, I don't think it would have worked.
Because there's an interesting note for the 2 spells that we've learned so far. Moody seems to be saying that you really need to mean and be angry, not only angry, but you really need to have like malice in your heart against the person in order to kill them. Like, because all of them can point their wands at him and say Avada Kedavra and nothing would happen but a nosebleed. And it's the same thing with the Patronus charm. You really need to mean that one. You need to be happy. So these two, they seem to be on the opposite spectrum.
Yeah.
One is it's derived from pure happiness. The other is derived from pure hatred. But you really have to feel like pure hatred, and you really have to want that person dead in order for this spell to actually work. And it's probably the same as the others. The Cruciatus Curse and the Imperious Curse, where you're controlling a person.
But I find it interesting how he's like, that was popular or that was used a lot in a certain time frame. So like, how did that come about?
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah.
Like,
Well, that was a reference to Voldemort, though, right?
I didn't know.
I don't
thought
remember
it
if that
was
came up
someone's
here.
Dad. Your dad would know that because of why. I forget what who.
So yeah. So who said
talking about?
who talked about the Imperious Curse? Who brought that one up?
Yeah, I
It
don't
was.
remember.
I thought that was Moody who brought it up.
No, it was a student. Right?
Oh, yes. You're right.
And
So
then
he
they're
asked
like,
him,
Your
yeah.
dad would.
And
know
so
that.
Ron was the one who said it.
Yeah, so
and
Ron
it was
was
Mr.
the-
Oh, that's
Weasley who worked for the Ministry of Magic, and that's why Moody was like, your dad would know about this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why did I think of
Probably because of tons of people getting Imperious and being controlled. So
now
he's
that
probably
makes
has to deal with a lot of that stuff.
And that's where we were learning that this is what happened to Harry's parents. Because, and it lines up with the green that is all he remembers from his childhood, and the green of even the dark mark.
Yeah.
So it's like, and that's why it was like intense for Harry in these chapters, because he is seeing how his parents died, and Ron was being insensitive about it. So that's pretty intense. And so we now know Voldemort did that to a lot of people, but we still don't know.
And then I
much.
went back to the first chapter, the intro, because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that makes sense. I feel like that is what happened to the 3.
The 3 people, and that's why there
Adults.
were no marks, no autopsy results or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any updates on what you think happened to the first chapter? Like, as you read, what are you, like, what's your, like, default setting for that first
You're
chapter?
allowed to ask questions, John?
Well, I'm just curious because mine has shifted a bunch of times, and I'm like,
I know. No, I still like my theory.
what was it, though?
I have to listen to the podcast.
Oh, okay. But it's,
Re-listen
it's
to all the
locked in.
episodes. You guys had one podcast, I think, during The Prisoner of Azkaban, where you were just floating theories back and forth about the stuff that were so fascinating. Some were way off, and some were like kind of close. It was interesting. It was kind of fun. Someone said too on this that you guys have to let me know how many times you are tempted to throw the books across the room. If something goes wrong, like no, throw it across the room. Like last book.
Kristen would definitely tell you.
I know.
She would have a lot, I'm sure. Does that mean a lot of people die? Don't tell me.
No, because
Well, just like even in
Yeah.
here, Neville does something silly, or Harry is
Yeah.
being annoying, and yeah, there's plenty of those moments.
like you guys know Neville's one of my favorite characters. And it breaks my heart. This chapter, which we're on chapter 14 right now, we kind of skipped a little bit.
Yeah.
But this one made me have to close the book at least for a little bit, because I like hurt me so much to see Neville in such pain.
Yes.
And I want to talk about that in a little bit. Where I don't want to get to that yet, but
Yeah, I don't get it.
it's universal with a lot of my friends where who have read this book, where they will have to shut the book, not literally throw it, but like shut the book at certain times because something upsets them, because they have loved these characters so much. So even if it's something small, like even with like Harry, like in the Prisoner of Azkaban, when they essentially uncover this whole plot, they realize that Sirius is okay, and then everything goes to crap. You're like, no, you like almost have to shut the book for a little while because you're like grieving that loss. You're like, Harry had someone he could be with. He was gonna spend the summer with Sirius, and that was you just lost that. So I like mourn those situations. They are sad to me. But so on the Imperious Curse, what are your thoughts on the
We
Imperious
didn't do a
Curse?
summary of chapter 14.
Yeah, what's I mean?
Oh wait. Is the curses don't come up till 14?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought that was
We
part of
seamlessly
13.
just went into
Like,
this.
because I knew we just slid into it, but I
Hold on,
wasn't
so
sure.
we'll come back to this discussion in a little bit. I have like one or two more for 13 that I want to touch on.
Okay, nice.
So very quickly, actually just one more, because the next one's gonna be a transition. Because the last one is, what do you think of Moody, like as a person? Do you think do you still like Rita Skeeter? Because she writes this little article and she says, she has a portrayal of Moody that he doesn't know a handshake from an attempted murder. Do you think she's a good journalist still?
Yeah.
I do, only because it's locked in. Like, I already
Yeah.
think of her as being a good journalist because she's doing good work. Like, the Ministry should be called out for all of this. This is not okay. They have no accountability. So her role is important, and I still trust her specifically. But the part that gets me, Arnold Weasley.
I know. You're a
It
good
makes no
journalist.
sense. Like, when I'm reading that, I'm trying to come up with reasons that's right. Is there an Uncle Arnold we haven't met yet? Is Arnold his real name? Is that, like, to me, I'm like, it doesn't make sense that she would get the name wrong. She knows a decent amount. She even was talking about Bill in one of her articles. Like, she dives deep, and it just doesn't seem like a mistake she would make.
Or maybe it's a purposeful mistake, and she's has a dig at Arthur Weasley over something, and she wants to like really insult him. Maybe they dated.
Ooh.
Oh man, plot twist.
I like it. That's so true. And even like, she's a journalist, so it feels like she's on the outside, but she's a wizard. She went to school maybe at Hogwarts, you know? She might have known all of these people growing up. We don't know how old she is or anything really about her, but I still trust her as a journalist. But this makes me a little more skeptical than naming. That I'm like, why?
I know. There's something behind that.
And she's being a little harsh,
Yeah.
but I'm okay with it.
Sometimes a journalist has to be harsh for certain things.
Exactly.
Like this. And then we get this line, Moody is turning students into ferrets. And we hear, "Professor Moody!" shrieked a voice. Professor McGonagall was coming down the marble staircase with her arms full of books. "Hello, Professor McGonagall," said Moody, calmly bouncing the ferret still higher. What? What are you doing?" said Professor McGonagall, her eyes following the bouncing ferret's progress through the air. "Teaching," said Moody. Moody, is that a student?" shrieked Professor McGonagall, the book spilling out of her arms. I love that so much.
I love how he just says, "Yup."
Yeah.
He's so confident. I love it.
Yeah,
Just not apologetic at all. I love it.
He does not care.
But what do you guys actually think of Moody? So let's transition this into the next chapter too, because we're already talking about that. I'll give a quick summary of the next chapter. We learned about the unforgivable curses. There you go. And it's a crazy lesson of Moody's whole thing. Moody's whole first lesson with them. What do you guys think of Moody?
I mean, I was kind of saying before, he's unapologetic. Clearly, he doesn't care what he does.
Yeah.
Or consequences.
Yeah.
I thought he was very harsh in that scene. That's why in 14, when he handled Neville the way he did, I was like, oh, there's kind of a softer side to him.
Yes. Yep.
So that kind of changed my view
Yeah.
on him a little bit.
And I think that's what I'm trying to understand. It feels like he likes justice. He wants things to be right. That's why he jumps in and, turns Malfoy into a ferret. Very funny. I like
Yeah.
it. And a ferret of all
the
things.
animal.
Yeah, like it just kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the curse is animal specific, not curse, the spell, or if it kind of chooses your nature, almost like
like a
an
Patronus.
animagus would.
Yeah,
and
okay.
that's why the pigtail on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So
I like that.
it just feels like so far the animal things have just lined up nicely. Anyways, and then I'm glad we got to see his softer side with Neville. Even though his approach was gruff, It was a little weird, but I liked it overall. Sharing with the students, talking to Harry, the thing with Neville, I liked it.
Yeah. I think maybe he doesn't know how to approach. I feel like with his past maybe and everything that he's been through, he doesn't know how to gently approach someone. It's going to be rough, but at least in the end result, it seemed good.
It's like a cop or like a Marine coming in and teaching, like a defensive class. You're like, okay, so break his arm here. Like you step on his leg, so you crack his leg open there, like crack his skull. Like he's just being flat out because this is how it is in the real world.
Right.
But
Right.
he's not going to sugarcoat things with the students because he has seen the real world. I think this line is said in there too, where half the cells in Azkaban have his name written on it or something like that. Yeah. Like he's locked up half the people in Azkaban just because of him. So he's a great wizard for sure. Scars all over his face, but he does not know the nuances of teaching to students that are young. I would love to see his first year class. All right, everyone sit down. We're going to learn.
They're absolutely terrified.
I also love that the package, like, don't judge a book by its cover.
Yes.
Because the package is frightening, but there is that
little softness under it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It feels like he's just bad with kids. He's not a good teacher. He's just really good at what he does. And I think it might have been Rita Skeeter who said it, that he was a little crazy thinking there are dark wizards everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, that's not crazy. We just saw the dark mark go up. Yeah. There are dark wizards everywhere. And a lot of wizards are oblivious to it or closing their eyes on purpose. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, he's not crazy. He knows what he's looking for, and he's seeing the signs.
Yep.
And we even hear Sirius in his response to Harry say something similar. Like, I'm picking up on things. There are rumors. Hearing you say that, I'm going north.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm trusting this dude. He's got good instincts.
Side question, too. If you were to teach the first lesson of Defense Against the Dark Arts, how would you guys teach it? Would you be more like Moody? Would you be like Lupin? I mean, Lupin is a more nuanced version. He's like, not like, okay, these are the unforgivable curses. He's like, let's learn about Boggarts and have a fun lesson. How would you guys do it?
It's a good question.
I mean, all of us would probably say, like Lupin, obviously.
I know.
Of course. But
Well, I'm trying
any
to
other strategies that you'd have thrown out there?
I mean, it probably would line up with Lupin. I'm just thinking of my teaching days of dance and how I would approach things. It's like you want to connect with the kids and you want them to feel comfortable. So especially a first lesson, you kind of want to go that. I would want to go that route.
Yeah.
Especially for such an intense class.
Yeah, it is really intense. I wouldn't want people, especially first years, beginning, like you kind of have to start with the why.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where the history would come into it too. Like, dark arts, what are they? Dark wizards, where did they come from? Why are they dark wizards? Did they start as good wizards and they became bad? Were they bad from the beginning? And why do they hate us?
Yes.
Why do they hate muggles? Why do they hate, like, you have to understand these big why things, and then that becomes your like motivation. You're like, okay, good, that's why this class exists. We've learned all the whys. Now here's what you're up against.
Yeah. Because we are Harry, we do not understand this yet. We are in his mind. Hermione might not understand it. Ron doesn't understand. He doesn't understand what the dark mark is.
Yep.
So
he really didn't have a good understanding.
To know the whys.
And that's something the dark mark should have come up in class. And maybe they just weren't paying attention. But like that seems to me like a perfect, relevant, recent example of dark arts. Yeah. So when Defense Against the Dark Arts, that should be first year stuff. Talk about Voldemort. That's fresh. That's new. Like that was not that long ago. Every student has, well, not every, like the wizard students with wizard parents, the parents would remember this. So I feel like learning about that, and here's what Voldemort did. We know for a fact he did these things, these curses, these spells, these marks, and here's what you do to defend against them, or here are the steps you take to be able to defend against them by the time you graduate. Just lay some nice groundwork. Of course, we don't get a lot of the groundwork, boring classes. We only see the highlights, but still.
Yeah, Moody is a really interesting person. Jen, do you like Moody, or do you think he's a bad teacher? What are your general thoughts on Moody?
Yeah, he's not like a great teacher. I think he just knows like a lot. And I guess reading this, or in my mind, Dumbledore is like, we need someone quick to teach you as soon as possible. It's like a crash course because I don't know what's going on. And like all these like signs are coming. So like I want someone just like go, like show them as quickly as possible because they might encounter this sooner than we're thinking. So that's how I read this. So to me, yeah, it is harsh, but I'm like, but they might need this. And that's why it's so quick, like so fast.
Yeah. It's a dangerous time, so you need to expedite some of this stuff. Yeah. That's a great point.
Yeah. So especially after the World Cup, right? Where
Yeah.
that. So to me, I'm like, okay, I trust Dumbledore is doing the best, and he might, maybe he should have had that class 2 or 3, but like maybe there is something going on that like the students are not supposed to know about, and Sirius is tapping into that when he writes his letter. So his response back. So to me, I was like, no, this is fine. I don't mind it. Maybe that's crazy.
That's a really good point. I wonder if Lupin would have changed his lesson after the Quidditch World Cup, like done something a bit more extreme, showed them examples like Mad Eye is doing here.
Yeah, I think just to show how intense it could be and how you know nothing and like you need to know something because.
Did you guys ever experience this in like high school? We never did, but I know some of my friends who went to like public high school, they would right before prom, they would like show a fake car accident like on a field or something like that. Like, bash a car in to show, this is what's going to happen if you drunk drive.
Yeah, we had that.
Really?
Yeah, they still do it every year.
So like,
like
sometimes an extreme example is the most useful thing. You see that.
Yeah.
So like these students seeing the Imperius Curse, they're like, I love the moment too. He's an effective teacher at least because he's having fun with the spider, like doing it twirls and everyone's laughing in the class. And he goes, "Oh, what should I do next? Should I drown it? Should I make it like do whatever I want to do? You know, should I throw it out the window or whatever he says?" How do you think the Ministry? It does have this line here. He says some job for the Ministry trying to sort out who was being forced to act and who was acting of their own free will. How do you think the Ministry is actually sorting those people out?
How could you? Oh man, it gives everyone a perfect out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe there's a spell or a charm or something that
there must be, right?
Truth, right? That's what I would
guess. Think. But nothing they could have used on Winky, you know, like, and it feels like
but
this is a thing that could have been used against her.
Elf.
Looks like she's dragging something. She's like doing weird stuff. Like this is a perfect example of like, was it her own will if she did anything? I don't know. And now she's got a combined thing because she's already a house elf. She feels that deep desire to do what she's told. And then you throw a little unforgivable curse on top of that. I don't know. She's powerful as an elf. Maybe she could resist. Random theory just popped to mind. But yeah, how do you tell?
Yeah.
It must be very tricky to tell. Maybe it is doable, but it's really, really advanced magic. You know, it's like I'm thinking of like a computer or something. You know, it's like there are viruses and you can like figure out where a virus came from, but it's not like the average person can just hop on and be like, let's track the virus. Yeah. But you know, you have people who really, really know about computers that can dig into it and figure out the deep meanings behind the stuff that anyone would look at and have no idea. Yeah. So someone like Dumbledore might be able to.
Yeah, like Dumbledore and Snape. Maybe like Lupin, maybe Moody would be the people that I would think of right now. I don't know if many other people are able to actually do something like that. Like I would say Dumbledore maybe flat out might be the only person who knows if someone's been Imperious cursed or not. Like he could probably just tell.
Right.
Other people, I don't know if they could yet. At least the Ministry can't because they're pretty incompetent.
They seem also out of practice.
Yeah.
Like it seems like a lot of them it's desk jobs, you know? They're not really.
That's why it's easy to have a mole in there.
Yeah.
Seriously, right.
How many moles do you think are in the Ministry of Magic right now? At least Bagman and Crouch.
And I think that's why it's a good move by Dumbledore to bring in Mad Eye because, or are we just going to call him Moody? So we bring in Moody because he's going to be able to spot the dark wizards, the bad stuff. And our theory, or what I'm thinking now, is one of these bad wizards is going to be at Hogwarts during the Triwizard Tournament. And now you've got the perfect person there to seek them out.
So Moody is the perfect person to seek out.
Exactly.
Wizards.
He's put so many in Azkaban. He knows what to look for. He's got this crazy eye that's gonna like, zero in on them. So
Can I go off on that for? I was just looking at my notes. I wrote, "What's the deal with Moody's eye?" And then there's a quote. It says he had the distinct impression that Snape was avoiding Moody's eye, whether magic or normal. I just thought that was interesting.
I'm just imagining too, like, I was just laughing about this. Moody just going around like changing everyone into an animal and like bringing them into his chamber and like interrogating them or something like that. Like he changes Snape into like a possum. Like, get over here, and he like
It's
tortures
a
him.
great animal for him.
yeah.
Like his methods are extreme, but he seems like the best person other than Dumbledore, who is preoccupied with something else. Like he's been all the other 3 years. He seems like the best person to catch whoever is going to be doing whatever is happening at Hogwarts. I think it's a solid move.
And it's weird to see Snape like nervous around someone.
Yeah.
He respects Dumbledore.
Yeah.
But he's not nervous around him. He walked into the Shrieking Shack with Sirius Black and Lupin, and he suspected both of them of being evil.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if he knew about Peter Pettigrew, but he walked in there confident as anything, ready to take them both on. And now he's nervous with this dude?
Yeah.
This dude's no joke.
Yeah, he's serious.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
There's another not fun, like this, the class almost gets sad to this point, and there's something going on here too that I want to talk about with Neville. And we'll hit on this a little bit later, but Hermione's hand flew into the air again. And so, to Harry's slight surprise, did Neville's. Neville looked surprised at his own daring. Yes, said Moody, his magical eye rolling over, fix on Neville. There's one, the Cruciatus Curse, said Neville, in a small but very distinct voice. Moody was looking very intently at Neville, this time with both eyes. Your name's Longbottom? He said, his magical eye swooping down to check the register again. There is something deeper going on here, but just generally, what are your thoughts on the Cruciatus Curse? And then what are your thoughts on Neville? Why does Neville know about this?
That's when they do whatever.
So the Imperious Curse is you do whatever you want. You control the person.
Okay. And
Cruciatus Curse is crucify. You inflict pain on the person.
Oh, his parents probably, because he's an orphan.
So
Neville's parents probably died this way.
Oh, died that way. Wow.
Or were tortured. I would say died.
Tortured to death.
Definitely could be. Wow. It's intense. And the fact that it didn't require any additional questions, Longbottom. Whoa.
Yeah.
Although my first instinct was that he dated Neville's grandma at some point.
Oh my God!
But
Gran and Moody. No, that is headcanon for me.
So anyways, that's where I went first. But after, now that you're bringing all this other stuff up, I'm like, oh my goodness, whoa. I was not even thinking about it.
Oh, good. We had the deeper thoughts this time.
Once.
But
wow,
so
you're right, though.
This is an interesting point with her writing that, like, this is why I love reading with groups, is that she sneaks deep stuff into her writing that, like, one person can notice and another person can't. Like, you can skip over stuff very, very quickly, which is all over her writing. And this is one of those good instances where it's like this interaction, it just seems like a normal interaction that they have. Like, what's your name? Longbottom? Checks the register. But they're like, Neville seems to be disturbed to a deeper level than the words on the page. So,
and Moody knows it too.
Yes. How does Moody know it? Because he dated Gran.
Yeah, they can both be true. But no, that's a great point, because why would Neville? No offense, Neville, he's great, but he's not great at school in all of his subjects, and so it does seem odd that he would know one of these unforgivable curses.
Yeah.
So wow. Yikes.
And then could that be why he also takes him afterwards, right? Moody.
Yeah.
Is like, come with me, and he kind of doesn't really want to go, right? Though?
Yeah.
Well, it was hard for me to understand that dynamic. Like, I got a little lost in it. Like, Neville's responses, I couldn't tell if it was him being scared or, like, I thought he was in a trance or something at first when he was, like, saying things that didn't make sense, and then he got distracted when I think it was Hermione who was talking or someone else, and I was like, what's happening? It felt like it wasn't him. So now reassessing that, reading this as something could have happened to his parents. Now I'm kind of getting it. Like there's
Like
like a
he-
lot deeper going on.
I felt like he was kind of looking at the other kids like, can you get me out of this?
Right.
Like,
right.
help me to not have to go with this.
Yeah.
But that
with
also
this guy.
felt like a little weird. Well, I guess it's fair to be scared of him.
I
after you
don't.
see
I
him
don't.
just do
Was
these
it
curses
scary?
on
I mean, I
spiders.
guess it could have been scary, but I was thinking more like he's going to want to talk about his parents, maybe, and like
Oh,
it's
okay.
something he doesn't like. It's traumatic, and like I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seriously, like he doesn't want to relive those memories
Yeah.
again.
And
Yeah,
nobody
that's
would.
a-
Yeah.
But even Moody, for whatever it is, if that's the case, he might know it's still healthy to do that. And that's why he knew what this would bring up for Harry, at least.
Yeah.
But it was still healthy to do it. Do it once. You maybe never have to do it again. But you have to learn it. You have to have that conversation. And then you're set forever.
They learn the killing curse here too, and this is what he says after. Not nice, he said calmly. Not pleasant. And there's no counter curse. There's no blocking it. Only one known person has ever survived it, and he's sitting right in front of me.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Such a good line.
But then there is a counter curse to a way if Harry is alive.
Ooh. Yeah. There has to be some kind of counter to
There
this.
is something, because how is he alive?
What is that something?
Love.
I was gonna. I just hit my mic. Sorry, I got excited. No, I was gonna say because that was mentioned with his mom, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would agree something along the lines of that.
But how many people have died that have loved them by Avada Kedavra? Why is Harry the only one to have survived that? I'm sure there's other people in the world that were about to be killed by Avada Kedavra, and they were loved. So,
It wasn't his destiny to die.
the chosen one.
The chosen one.
Yeah.
Or somehow he's connected to Voldemort. Because they have the same, I don't know, the wands are the same. I'm not sure if that would have been before, like,
Yeah. Like we
would have
still-
always
right.
been like that, even if he didn't try to kill Harry? Or was this because you try to kill Harry, you have part of Voldemort? Now, there's things that overlap between the two.
Yeah,
people.
like was the connection formed in that moment or did it exist before? I still don't know. And the other part that it reminded me again, hearing it like in this chapter, was whether Voldemort was going to kill Harry's parents or he was there to kill Harry.
It seemed like to kill Harry.
And the
from
parents,
this
that was
one,
an
right?
after effect. So then it felt also like if Voldemort goes into a house and uses this curse on people and kills them and there was love and whatever, that's one thing. But if someone who was not going to die sacrifices themselves first to save someone else, like that is when the real protection
But
happens.
isn't that what John was saying?
Well, I think what I'm thinking is a lot of people who loved each other were all killed, but they were going to be killed anyway. Voldemort
Yeah.
comes into a house and he's going to kill all 5 people in the house. Like someone trying to save someone else, but they were already going to be killed. Maybe that wouldn't have the same effect, but I'm thinking his mom might not have been killed, but she chose to be killed to protect Harry maybe.
Yeah.
It's not like a definite or anything, but just I'm trying to think of why it was different for Harry than anyone else. Because like John said, plenty of people love.
What do you think it means for Harry to know the way that his parents died? To know the killing curse? Just to know everything that they did in this lesson.
Depressing.
Yeah, a lot of
Depressing, yeah.
unpleasant memories. And to see it even in spider form,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like then you're like, oh wow, pain. That's tough.
Yeah.
Like watching another creature go through pain and then imagining that same pain amplified and someone you love, that's tough.
Yeah, you're having to relive your worst nightmares again.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with these 2 orphans. I mean, Neville, who seems to be having to relive, even with Jen's theory, this idea that maybe that's what his parents dealt with. And then Harry with the Avada Kedavra curse, this is what his parents dealt with, so they have to relive that memory over and over. Yeah, it's a sad thing. So most of the students do think this was a good lesson, but Harry and Hermione don't. So who do you side with? We talked about this before too, but do you really think this was a good lesson? Like truly?
Yes. I think it could have been done without the spiders.
Okay.
It could have been done.
Theory?
Discussing, talking about it without the visuals. Maybe. I'm not saying it was definitely a bad idea to use the spiders. It helped it be more, powerful for everyone. Was it worth it though to cause Harry a little pain, Neville some pain?
The spider some pain.
And the spiders,
That
yeah.
poor spider.
I'm just hoping they're not real spiders. They just turned some
I'm okay with
teacups
that.
into a
Yeah,
spider or
seriously,
something.
maybe.
And that's why they chose spiders, right? They're like,
can't.
yeah, no one cares if we kill spiders.
Ron is okay with it. He's
I
like,
was
kill the
just
other
gonna
two.
say,
Kill
I'm
the
okay
other
with
two.
Right. Which is fair, but it also seems weird because like spiders have a personality
Yeah.
and they have voices.
He enlarges
And-
the spider and he's like,
this is
everyone, look at this.
It's just so weird. So yeah, I feel like without the spiders, it would have been better.
Yeah.
Kinder, I'll say.
Yeah.
But it seems like his style. Bring the spiders in. Give a
Yep.
visual.
You got to give a visual sometimes.
Yeah.
You thought it was good? You'd go full spider?
I just think I'm coming from that like theory that that something bad's gonna happen soon, and it's just like let's get allow the kids to see what evil is out there because this could be around the corner, and talking about it in theories is not gonna help.
Yep. And for all the
With
things these
immediate-
kids have experienced, they're experiencing this out there in the world. Ginny is being captured and brought down there, almost getting, killed by Voldemort. And all of these crazy experiences are happening out there in the wild. So a little bit of emotional intensity in class is not a bad thing. This is where that should be happening. So that the kids are more prepared for those emotions when they face them in real life. So yeah, I'm not like against it, but it's just intense.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I think Harry and Hermione didn't like it because, Hermione's kind of feeding off of Neville and Harry, but they've already experienced it.
Yeah.
So they're already at the magnitude where they kind of understand. The other kids don't. So that's probably why they liked it. They're detached from it. It's a little bit of excitement. Ooh, this is different. We're seeing this forbidden thing, So, you think about that. It is exciting. But when you've experienced it, then it's a different level.
Yeah.
And that's why they don't like it.
Surprised though that he didn't pull them aside. Like he could have maybe to make it better, pulled Neville and pull Harry and be like, "Hey, these are the things I'm going over. If you are okay with seeing this, then stay in the class. If you don't feel like you can tolerate it, we can chat after and you just skip this class."
Yeah, that would have been the proper teacher thing to do.
Yeah.
But he's not a teacher.
Like even with the car crash thing, if there's any students whose parents have died in a car crash, that would not be very good. That would not be too kosher.
Yeah, that's
so
a
you
perfect
pull those
example.
students out of it, and you're like, "Hey, you're not going to watch this again. Like this is terrifying for you." So those students are extra traumatized. Like an example like that, like Harry and Neville and Hermione, because Hermione is empathetic with the others, really feel this. The others kind of think it's cool. Like Moody does say this though. He says almost pleadingly, like I do love these lines. I do love this writing. He just goes, "You've got to know. It seems harsh, maybe, but you've got to know. No point pretending."
Right. Yeah. That's how I took it.
Yeah.
And his eye quivered. Like he feels the emotion of this too. He knows it's intense.
Yeah.
He's like a tough guy, but like I feel like this got to him a little bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like Moody. Oh man. This is such a good chapter. This is freaking an all-time chapter. I love this chapter so much. But then they finish this lesson. Neville is just struggling right now. He has to go back and have tea. How do you like Neville? We still haven't interacted with him a ton, but how do you like his character arc and little things that we've seen him in? How do you like him as a person?
He's cute. I feel for him. Like
Yeah.
he's the underdog in a way.
This is one of the more significant bits we've gotten out of him.
Yeah.
but I loved when he stood up to Malfoy in the stands at the Quidditch match. I think that's when that was, a couple books ago. So I do feel like for the amount we see him, he gets like some quick growth. Like we're seeing a lot of growth at key moments because he doesn't get a lot of screen time, page time. But yeah, I really like him.
And he's one of those characters too that we don't get a lot of time with him, but in the earlier books, he just seems like a side character. In this one, and especially in this story, it seems like you're getting a mysterious back version of him. Like there's something deeper going on under Neville's skin that we do not know yet that we're going to find out. I don't know when, but we'll find it out soon.
Yeah, I'm glad he's kind of making an entrance again.
Yeah.
Getting a little bit more.
And this genuinely feels like a healthy step to like help him kind of start to deal with some of the trauma that it sounds like Gran is not very good at walking him through. So it maybe is not the ideal thing, but like now that I'm just reabsorbing this with the new perspective, I'm like, I think this is going to be a big change in his character. He's now got some confidence that Sprout said good things. Moody passed it along. He gets this book. Like he feels loved by not just Harry, but like now he's feeling some love from a teacher, multiple teachers. He's going to start dealing with some trauma. Yeah. This is a real good start for Neville.
Yeah. And someone on the chat said sometimes practicality takes precedence over niceties. And with Neville, I think that's kind of the true too. Maybe it's different with Neville than it is Harry. Like sometimes Harry is different, but I think I was talking about this with someone else. When do you just be harsh with someone and tell them the flat out truth versus when do you like be nice about it, really kind and curt, or not curt, really kind and tactful. And sometimes someone needs to just be shaken out of something and be like, hey, look, I'm not going to be nice about this. This is what you saw. Let's work through this rather than just avoid the question. But you got to know that there's a time and a place for everything, I think. So, oh man. But they go back to the common room and all of a sudden they see Fred and George up to something. Classic. They go, no, that sounds like we're accusing him. Got to be careful. What are they up to? What are those guys doing over there in the corner? Anybody want another licorice wand?
No, thanks.
Sure, I'll do one more.
You don't want one? You good, Danny? Ooh, nice catch.
I'm good.
Sorry, Wes.
I'm good too.
Come on,
Thank you.
guys.
I had 4.
Okay.
Whoa, hey, nice.
I literally threw mine in the garbage.
They're so good, though.
They are good. I like them a lot. Missing out. I'm just kidding.
Me? I mean, no. I mean, I tried it.
I know.
I gave it
kidding.
2 bites, and that was it.
So because they've got a quill out, Fred and George, makes me think that they're writing a letter, and it sounds like we're accusing him. Got to be careful. They're probably impersonating someone in letter form to get somebody to do something, but I just can't place what that would be. Accusing.
What page is that on?
Yeah, I can't find it.
223. We all have the same pages here. Is that the thing?
Yeah, there it is.
So yeah, I can't quite picture it. So I'm thinking, of course, this is for them to get into the tournament, the Tri-Wizard tournament. So they're trying to do something about age. They're maybe ruling out the idea of the aging potion, or they called it a pill, I think. But maybe this is another solution. Writing a letter, an appeal. They wouldn't be so silly to send a letter to Dumbledore trying to, from like what, from one of the other headmasters of the ministry, like, there are no age restrictions that can be placed here. We heard a rumor of you putting an age restriction here. I don't know who it would be to, though. Oh, do we know who the chooser is yet?
The judge.
The judge, yeah, the guy who's going to decide who represents Hogwarts.
It's the judge. Yeah.
I feel like
No.
they mentioned that it was going to be a thing, but like, I don't think they even mentioned a name.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But I don't remember.
So I don't think Fred and George would know. Although it is weird that they have so many family members in the ministry and they didn't find out, and Malfoy knew for so long. I'm sure he's lying about that, but still. Would it have been so bad to just tell the Weasley kids before they went to school? Like, come on now.
I know. What do you think of Harry and Ron's predictions? We talked about that before. So you actually think some of them are right?
Oh yeah, as soon as I read the first one, lose something important to him, I'm like, he's losing his invisibility cloak.
No, not again.
Lost a treasured possession as Harry, whatever. Oh, good one. And yeah, they started saying a few other things. Stabbed in the back by someone you thought was a friend. I'm like, oh no. I'm thinking that could be Ron, it could be Hermione, it could be Neville, it could be a teacher, whatever. I'm like, no. And Wednesday, I think I'll come off worse in a fight. So that's classic. Could be Malfoy or something. But
Yeah.
So all of these things are very doable. It just started to get a little crazy later on. Mm-hmm. But it's funny to me that I think these predictions carry as much or more weight than anything Trelawney says in her sober-minded state. So, yeah, it is funny, but I would not be surprised at all if some or all of these came to fruition.
What predictions would you make about yourself if you were faking it in Trelawney's class?
Probably that was a good one.
What is the number one thing you'd say?
Number one thing that I would say. Maybe, like, it's all fluff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm trying to come up with accurate predictions about my life.
Yeah. I
I
will
will
yell at
do
the child next week.
something dumb. Nice. I'll be annoyed with someone at
My
work.
coworkers.
Yeah. I will have a miscommunication with friends and family. And being able to blame it on planets and stuff is great.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
That made me
Because of the
laugh.
planet Jupiter, I'm going to, have a black eye or... Hey, Wes. I'll make a prediction about Wes. He's going to run off somewhere.
He's going to have a play date with his sister.
Yeah. He just had a play date with his sister. It was so cute.
He seems a little tired from it.
I know. He is dead
It's
tired right now.
great.
Which is, speaking of pets, freaking Hedwig comes in and
Harry doesn't
delivers
even
a
have
letter.
a treat. Doesn't have
Harry doesn't have a treat. Like, throws her, says, go to the owl or
I was
get
gonna
out
say,
of
you got
here.
annoyed at him. He was like, he got annoyed that he didn't have a treat.
And you got annoyed at me a while ago for
I
saying
know.
that they're bad pet owners. He is a terrible pet owner.
And they
It should
all
be
are.
known now.
Even earlier in these chapters when they were getting in the taxi and like Crookshanks is climbing up some dude's leg and stuff and getting scared with exploding things, like they're just not keeping a good eye on their pets.
No. Ron didn't even know it was freaking Peter Pettigrew for 13 years, which is, is excusable. I guess it's all right.
We suppose, but also
Give him a little pass.
I feel like there would have been signs. I don't know what, but like something.
He literally stayed a rat for 13 years straight. He never took a break.
I know. That's what I'm saying. We said this before, but he probably took a break in like midnight,
had
and Ron woke up accidentally and saw this weird man standing in his room.
Yep.
And then I love how he's in the picture when they're in
Yeah.
Egypt, and he's just like hanging out with his hand.
Yeah. Oh, he's showing off his finger. It's so funny.
Yep.
Happy as can be. What was the question?
It was just a comment. On
Oh, yeah.
Harry being a
Sorry.
bad pet owner. Only like 2 more questions left. So, do you think so Neville or not Neville. Hedwig comes back with the news and that Sirius is coming back. Do you think it's a good thing that Sirius is coming back? Or do you think he's being a little careless?
I think it's good. Yeah.
I don't
I actually
know.
wasn't positive he was coming back. I pictured him in the Caribbean. So north, I was
Yeah.
like, he's going to Ilvermorny or like hanging out in the States. We just know he's going north. They were like, he's coming back. I guess. But he could be going anywhere. It's not like he's going beelining for Hogwarts.
He could be going to headquarters for Voldemort.
Yeah. He could be going anywhere.
Wait.
He could-
You could be going to the headquarters for Voldemort?
Serious. Maybe he's going to spy on them.
Oh,
full frontal assault to the
Maybe he's going to
maybe.
the Riddle House.
the Riddle House.
And he's going to go check it out before, try to stop him before. He's not that powerful right now. Maybe he can take him.
it would be good timing to stop him now for sure.
And where is the headquarters? Like, don't they all meet up somewhere? Or do they all have, like, they have to. Because they have, like, these port keys. They have, right? Is that the right term?
That's a good point. And if they can, like, shield things from Muggle eyes, you imagine they could do the same type of stuff to shield from wizards. Kind of like a secret keeper, but, like, something else where you could basically have a whole castle, whole secret evil lair
Yeah, like
somewhere.
you have, like, a pin and you all push it at the same time and you end up at, like, the Riddle House.
Whoa. Yep.
Wow.
I don't know.
That'd be sweet.
Could happen, right? It's magic.
Yeah, anything's possible, pretty much.
Yeah.
Whatever you think of, there might be something magical about that it's revealed later in books.
It
Yeah.
feels like arrogance from Harry he just always thinks he knows better.
Yeah.
Like, he gave Sirius information, and Sirius, who is really good at stuff,
Better than
takes
Harry.
the information and makes a decision. And Harry's like, I shouldn't have told him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Harry, just chill. You always should tell people. The only people in your life you can trust are Ron and Hermione. Hagrid, I'll even say maybe not. But Dumbledore and Sirius, these are like the people you share with. And even if,
And Sirius brings up another person that they could trust, which is Mad-Eye Moody.
yes.
So that's huge because
Yeah.
he's reading the signs. Like, he says, okay, I'm seeing this and Dumbledore's seeing this. So he's reading the signs correctly. These are the people that you can trust. You can trust Ron, Harry. You can trust Ron, Hermione. Hagrid doesn't say that, but Dumbledore, Moody. These are the people that you can trust.
Yeah.
Like, trust these people, lay into these, like, hang out with these people. Everyone else is off the radar. Like, you need to put them and figure out if you can actually trust these people or not.
I feel like maybe he
Yeah.
questioned or got annoyed with himself because now Sirius is going to be in jeopardy.
Yeah.
And I think he is terrified of
Yeah.
losing people, and he's
Yeah.
his only family.
Yeah.
So I think he
For
probably
sure.
got annoyed, like, oh my gosh, because of me, now this
Well,
one
he should have
family
went to
member.
Dumbledore
Yeah, that is a
first.
fair balance. And well, yeah, even like Sirius said, like if it happens again, go to Dumbledore, which he should have
Yeah.
done the first
Like,
time.
why? Why
Yeah.
send it? And then it ends up telling him, stop sending your snow owl. Like,
Yeah.
or was that ahead? I don't know. Was that ahead? Am I ahead? I'll stop.
No, it sounds like
I
something
think
he would
that
say.
was
I
in
don't
there, yeah.
remember him saying it, but yeah, I might have.
Because
Keep your
I
eyes
I
open,
hate
I'll
every
be in
time that he was
touch.
sending him letters. I cringe because I'm like, you're gonna
Yeah.
expose Sirius Black,
Right.
and the Dementors are gonna get him. Or
That
Yeah.
might have been something you read in the beginning of the next chapter, but yeah. Either way, it makes complete sense. He's on his way north. He's traveling. Feels reasonable. But you're right. It's a good balance for Harry that
actually,
he
the
would be
next
scared about
chapter is
that.
good.
Oh man, I'm eager.
Isn't it so exciting too that when we finish these discussions, it's like I can go and read the next 5 chapters or 4 chapters or
Yep.
however much we're reading. It's
No.
exciting.
So great.
Last question, and actually we've touched on this one, so we don't really have to talk about this one. So we kind of pretty much touched on everything about this one. I was going to ask, why is Neville awake? He's awake at the end of this chapter. It goes, the dormitory was completely silent. That sounds like a weird question without context. And had he been less preoccupied, Harry would have realized that the absence of Neville's usual snores meant he was not the only one lying awake. Neville was
Yeah.
lying awake too. We kind of talked
I
about
think,
why.
Yeah.
I feel like it's that, like,
Like
trauma.
Just, yeah,
from
thinking about the trauma.
Yeah.
A little, yeah.
not being able to sleep.
Who are your
Neville.
guys? Who do you think wins the House Cup in these chapters? Who's the best character? There's a lot of really good ones these chapters. Like other ones, we've tried to like find good ones. I think there are phenomenal characters these chapters. Everyone has a strong showing, it seems, except for Ron. Who's like, no,
that's
let's
so true.
enslave the house
Yeah.
elves. Hermione is standing up for
Yeah.
house elves, doing really good, standing up for other
I was
people.
gonna say
Neville
her.
has a strong showing in these.
Yeah.
Harry has a very strong showing with most of what he's doing. Like Sirius is great in this. Moody's fantastic. His first
Yeah.
lesson is great. Like people are having strong showings for this. Even the twins and Dumbledore with their like comedic relief. Small little things, but I love
Yeah.
it when they're like, "Oh, you must be kidding," and Dumbledore's sitting there laughing with the students.
Yep.
I would love to see a headmaster do that.
Yeah.
Be so relatable and practical that he's laughing with students and really enjoying that time. I love Dumbledore.
So great.
And you guys know my hatred of Dumbledore in the movies because he doesn't compare to the books. Like he
Yeah,
would never do
yeah.
that in the movies. In the books, he is just such a great guy.
I'm gonna give it to Moody.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because I like him.
Yeah.
I'll be disappointed if we find out he's evil, but I'm pretty confident just because he's got the best people vouching for him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's rough around the edges, but he's got a good heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was gonna go with him too. I feel like he was such a strong force. I was trying to look for somebody else, but I might agree.
Ditto. I liked Hermione too, though.
Yeah. She had a good stretch.
Like, yeah,
and
stand
coming up with her SPW at the end.
all her research.
The
like
Society for
she
the
cares
Promotion
so
of
much, and
English
no one
Welfare.
cares.
Oh, nice. I was trying to think of what it was.
Do you remember what the other one was?
Oh, the long
I
one?
wrote it
The
down
longer
to
one?
see if it was like
Yeah.
an acronym. And I was
It
like,
wasn't. It was
so long.
Oh yeah, it wouldn't fit on a pin or something.
Yeah.
Or, something like that.
Stop the outrageous abuse of our fellow magical creatures and campaign for a change in their legal status. Yeah, that doesn't roll off the tongue.
I love too when she's like, she's just in her element. She goes, Ron, you're treasurer. I have a little tin upstairs for you. And Harry, you're secretary. So you should be writing everything I say down.
Yes, that was really funny. I thought that was great.
She's
I
just
missed
so
that.
quick. Like she's in her
Yeah,
element.
and it actually felt like genuinely funny. Like she was serious. She's passionate,
Yeah.
but she could also be like light about it.
Yes.
I'm like, this is good. I like
Yeah.
this side of Hermione.
It was great.
But Ron saying we've been working like house elves here. I'm like, Ron,
He's
read
so
the room.
Dull. He is my favorite. I love him.
Goodness.
He's such an idiot. And then what is your favorite moment in these 4 chapters?
Malfoy as a ferret.
That was
Gosh,
really
that
funny.
Yeah.
was fantastic.
Is that a student?
I didn't know it was him at first because I'm listening to it and I didn't know what happened.
Like, why is there a ferret in this now? And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden,
Or was I the only one?
Oh no, I had to. Sorry, these are like actual reader's glasses, and I looked up and I went cross-eyed. I don't know. I just distracted my own stuff. Looked up, went cross-eyed, and all my thoughts went away. What did you just say?
The ferret moment.
Oh, I
was
had
a
to go
favorite.
back and reread that because I
Okay.
was very confused.
Yeah,
Why is there a
'cause
ferret on the floor?
All of a sudden,
Yeah.
I'm like, he's chasing
Yeah.
what? Why is he chasing?
Yeah, I had to go
don't
back.
know.
Hmm.
Okay.
I loved the interaction between Dumbledore when he said that, like, started to tell the joke.
yeah. Yes.
I loved that moment.
There's so many good little
With
moments
him
in this.
and McGonagall had to, like,
Yeah.
Yes.
Bring it
yes.
back.
I thought that was important for me. It changed a little bit of who Dumbledore is because I think of him as being perfect. And
Yeah.
even if he is faking imperfections to make people feel like he's a little more accessible,
Yeah.
still,
That's
I liked
big.
it because he's being corrected by a fellow teacher. He's saying things and stopping halfway through. Like, it just felt like very real and it was good.
It made me wonder how much responsibility McGonagall has.
Right.
Like, does Dumbledore actually do the hiring? Does it say that?
Or is
'Cause after
McGonagall
that
the one
moment, I
who's
was
kind of
I feel
like
maybe she's
sitting
pulling
in
the
on
strings
all
of-
of those meetings
Yeah.
and being the adult about it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. It just
I
made me
could
think.
definitely see that. I cannot picture Dumbledore being good at anything administrative.
Yeah. no.
Like
Yeah.
he
His
can be a
files
leader
are-
and whatever. Yeah, but there's no way he's organized.
Yeah.
Um,
That's McGonagall.
He's not
So
on,
I feel
he's
like
not on the
McGonagall
Google
is
Suite.
very
He doesn't
important.
have any organization.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's a great moment in these chapters. It really brings a different kind of character to Dumbledore. And there's a lot of those too. With I think just in small moments, these characters are growing a lot. Like even the twins, we didn't know them. We knew they were fun and stuff like that, but now they're like, there's something serious going on. There's something deeper. Even Neville, he's a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Like there's just so many good ones. Dennis Creevy moment is one of my favorites. Just someone in love with this wizarding world. It's just great. But I think I'd probably say my favorite is. Can I have a look at Uranus too? I'm sorry, but that is such Such good high school humor, and I cracked up at it. I'm still a high schooler.
Oh, I laughed out loud at that part.
Yeah.
I thought of you, Jen.
What's your favorite moment, Danny?
Yeah, I feel like all of those moments were great. I think in the Great Hall with Dumbledore talking, that just felt like I get the warm fuzzies about a new year. I can appreciate that JK is writing the same routine of school starting, but it feels so fresh each time. And even like Harry said, this is the first time we're actually seeing the Sorting Hat do its thing. So being back there again and kind of seeing the same things, this was the first time we got to see that moment from an older perspective, not being the first year. And that just felt really fun, like welcoming in the new kids and Dennis Creevy. I thought that was just all great.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. From the Hogwarts Express into Hogwarts itself, and the water balloons was funny, but yeah, the Great Hall, all that was great.
So these are such good chapters.
But Unforgivable Curses, that's where it starts like getting serious. So I enjoyed that for a different reason. That like was a throwback to the feeling of chapter 1, the mystery, the big evil stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
That we're going to hear more about, I'm sure.
This book does such a good job of mixing serious stuff in with lighthearted stuff.
Yeah.
It's like you're dying laughing at Uranus one chapter, and then the next it's like hitting you overhead with the unforgivable curses, Neville's in shambles, you know? So good.
Harry predicted his own death by decapitation. And that's where I was like, maybe his predictions aren't all right. Or maybe that's how book 7 ends. What do I know? That's how Voldemort is defeated. But the other thing I was wondering is Moody's intruder, was it evil or was it a muggle? We didn't hear anything more about it.
Yeah.
We just know there was some kind of intruder and his bins attacked them. I feel like we might have heard something about it if it was actually another wizard, but in the back of my mind, I'm also just thinking it might come back.
Yeah.
We might hear that he was on the radar from some dark wizards and there might have been someone after him. So
Yeah, because the Ministry didn't do a great job. I mean, you saw that in the chapters. They kind of like hushed some of it up. There's a whole article written about it because Arthur was trying to like protect him. So I don't know. That's an interesting point.
that's all
Maybe we'll learn what happens later. But thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the first-time readers. Until next time.
See you then.
Yeah.
Don't.
What are we going to read for next time?
I think we are doing 4 chapters, I want to say. Let me look it up real quick. So the next ones are Bobaton and Durmstrang, and the Goblet of Fire, the 4 champions, the Wang of the Wands. So we will do the next 4.
4 champions. What?
So we'll do 15, 16, 17, and 18.
And 18.
Through 18? I literally just zoned out into my
Through 18.
Through 18.
Yeah.
4 chapters.
Yep. It's going to be so good.
Anyway,
thanks for joining us.
I pretty much keep... Oh, yeah.
I'm going to end the live stream.
Calvin.
Yeah. We got a few.
Nice.
Guys, it was a pleasure having you on. Thanks for all your comments and everything like that.
Thanks, guys. Bye. We love you.
Love you guys. See ya.
Bye.
I got to wait 20 seconds until that actually happens.
That's funny.
Ready?
But we're already cut off
Yeah.
audio. Okay, cool. I have it in my calendar as every other Wednesday being a podcast day. Keeping that going, kind of a Wednesday thing. Cool.
Yeah, I think that works.